This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox newscast. Welcome to the X&C Podcast. I'm Colteastwood, the host, and this is episode 100. It's a milestone, I suppose, but I'm surprised we're still here. But I'm grateful to be here. I'm thankful to be here with my co-host, Mag, middle-aged game guy. How you doing, bud?
Yes, I'm doing fantastic, Colt. And listen, this is episode 100. We couldn't get that live execution of Gaz going because he went into hiding. So we will find him. So hopefully by episode 105, we should have him, and we'll be doing that. But in other news, once I cross the border, we will be swatting Randall Thor as well for not showing up to tonight's show. So that being the case, and I will be doing it myself. I will not be calling the police. I will do it myself. So Rand, be prepared. Jez, you're off the hook for now because you're overseas. Anyhow, we got a hell of a show tonight. We got a great thing going on. Like I said, episode 100. We got a lot of hot topics to talk about, and of course, we got royalty in the building, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the king himself from ILP. We got King David in the house as well. Let's get into the show, baby.
King, how is it, bro? Look at that intro from Mag. I'll put on the shades.
Yeah, I love that. I love when you got the shades on.
How are you, bro?
Fantastic day. It's a really good day. If anybody's telling you that it's a bad day in gaming, they probably gaming on a Switch.
Oh,
you gotta wait for the fall.
And speaking of which, the shirt of the week is brought to you by classically trained Nintendo. Sorry. There we go.
Oh, love it.
Oh,
love it.
Yeah.
Classically trained. There we go. So anyways.
And the shirt of the decade is brought to you all natty. Because the king stays all natty.
Yeah, and I'm wearing the master of all Bethesda, Fallout. So just so you guys know, today we're going to start the show talking about Redfall. I've got 8 to 10 hours into it. I got the code late on Saturday. They took the game offline today for most of the day because of all the controversy that's been going on. But let's get over and look at some of the footage. What I've got for you in the first few minutes, the first 10 minutes is on the Xbox Series X, and there it runs at 30 frames, and at first you're like, this is good, and it could be passable, but I've got a lot to say about this game. It's really hard to explain. I thought this game was gonna maybe hit in the 80s, mid 80s, low 80s, but you will have lots of bouts of fun with Redfall. It is a miniature Far Cry. It's a miniature pared back Borderlands type game, but there's a lot of things it doesn't do that you would expect other AAA games to do or other big budget games. And the shooting and the movement at 30 frames is really tough. Like when the vampires are getting in your face, you're missing a lot of those animations. So it's kind of like you feel like you're kind of blinded half the time. I've had a lot of fun. I just feel like when I play it, I'm like, this is really great. This is not very good. I'm having fun again. What were they thinking? And it's really weird. The world is right here is the clip. Gaz and I played in co-op on Xbox Series X, and I couldn't crouch. He was stuck in crouch, and this went on until we restarted the game. Of course, you're going to see bugs like that. I've heard there's like floating rocks and things. It is.
That's just the Jedi mod. Ignore it. Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, I mean,
those are bugs because y'all were playing the preview copy, and when they go live, they probably gave a huge patch.
Yeah, there was a patch today, but this was Sunday afternoon, and the game isn't broken. Like you go out in the world and you'll walk 400 or 800 meters to a mission point, and there'll be really nothing to you can check out a couple houses, there's a little bit of loot, there won't be many enemies. The enemies you can take down in just a couple seconds, and you're like, now what? But there's cool tiered guns. There's probably 20 different weapons. You have burst fire and bullpup and regular assault rifles. You have double barrel shotguns, auto shotguns, semi-auto shotguns. You've got a UV beam, which you'll see in the game here that I use. You've got flare guns, you've got pistols, revolvers, and snipers. That's pretty much. And I guess
How does the powers work with it? Because I'm seeing you using some powers as well as the weaponry. So how does the powers work in combination with the weaponry?
So I'm using Remy, and she has a little robot dog, so I can hold a bumper and I can ping out the little robot like down the way, and that robot will go over and all the enemies will aggro on that, and I can throw out C4 where they're all grouped up, or I can just go in there and start shooting them. There are the other powers, which are ultra, that you unlock after like level 5 or 6, is both bumpers. I put a circle around. She goes like this, which is cool. And a healing circle like buffs everybody. So like if I'm in a mess, I can go like this and I start gaining health while I'm like in a really bad situation and backed up trying to reload or trying to put on a health kit. That's pretty cool.
Okay, so it's like a Warlock's Rift in Destiny. So like
there you go.
Put the circle around you while you're healing. You can do other things inside of it. Okay, that's good. And
then Gaz is playing as Layla, and she has like the Titanfall bubble shield. She's got the umbrella that will absorb bullets and bounce them back. And then he's also got the escalator, of course, the elevator, which he can drop. And I used it all the time. He's like, "Hey, let's go up here." He would drop the elevator and hop up there, and I would also hop up there. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then I talked to Miles Dampierre, who's also putting up a review right now, and he is playing as Dev, who has a teleporting machine, and he has the UV stake, which now I'm mad that I've gotten this far into the game, and I probably should have picked Dev. But yeah, I don't know. Mag, let's talk about the graphics. What are you thinking as you see this? Right now, I think we're still on the Series X version of the game.
The thing is, it's hard to see when it's when it's compressed and put on someone else's stream or whatever. It's the same thing as YouTube, right? I try not to look too much at it because I'm not gonna get like even if you get a game that's gorgeous, like let's say like a Horizon Forbidden West, what the hell's the new one, the Burning Shores. I just popped it in for like 10 minutes. When you're looking at it on a screen and it's in front of you, like playing it, it is a whole different experience than, you know what I'm saying? Like as if like the difference of you watching it on YouTube or watching it here. Like I'm watching it on my second screen right now. I'm seeing what you're doing, and I'm like, all right, it's hard to get a good gauge. You know what I'm saying? So like and especially when the screen is smaller, it's hard to tell. But it would have to be like, in a 70-inch screen in front of me, then I'll be able to make a decision from there. However, doesn't look crazy. Doesn't look like crazy bad. Doesn't look like some people were like, oh, it's like 360 PS3. And I'm like, well, not quite, but like, I don't know. It's hard to like I said, it's hard to tell. There's some areas like here, like I'm looking at the ground and I'm like, all right, it doesn't look like a whole lot of textures there and stuff like that with the little painted stripes and all that. And I'm like, all right, it doesn't look super great, but hey, you know what? At the end of the day, it's all based on the user experience, right? So I'm not dancing around it. Like it sounds like I'm dancing around it, but that's because I haven't played it on a screen in front of me.
So we're looking at PC footage. We're looking at PC footage right now. It just switched to my PC footage, and it feels and looks so much better with that extra frame rate, which it will in a couple of months or a month or weeks, whatever it takes them to patch it. And the performance on the console's fine, but on PC, it's kind of all over the board. And I don't want to get into that too much because your mileage will vary depending on what kind of PC you play it on. It's Play Anywhere. I can hop back and forth and it'll just resync my save, which is really cool. But let me just say, the visuals, when you're playing the game on Series X tonight or whenever you guys first load it up, you're going to understand that you feel like you're getting a 2011 game maybe on your Xbox One. Like that's what it feels like when you load up your Series X and you're getting 30 only and the visuals are very simplified. One thing that Arcane could have normally done, like they did with Dishonored and Deathloop, is they could have stylized more than just the character models. They're very stylized. They have kind of a cartoony shape, which is cool. Right. And their hands are like this long, King. Like their fingers, like everybody's hands are extra long, like a stylized cartoon. But they went with the semi-photorealistic textures. And those two things don't really blend together to make the game look cool.
I'm hearing in the chat here. Sorry, I'm hearing in the chat.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a 94 gig day one patch. Is this true? Can anybody confirm that?
I got one today on PC, but I haven't checked it on Xbox. But the PC
David,
one.
you hear anything?
No, I mean, I'm staying away from it. I don't want nobody to consume my food for me. So, and the only reason why I'm looking at this now is because I'm on the show and we're talking about it. You know, normally I stay away from that stuff unless we're doing like a show, and we're watching the trailers and stuff. But again, this is a game that I'm gonna play. I'm gonna have my own opinions about the game. Everything that I've seen doesn't look like a 360. I mean, 360 and PlayStation 3 was ahead of their time, but y'all have a revisionist history in your mind, thinking that the games looked this good, because if they did, they'll still be around. There's going to be people that hate just to hate, and there's going to be people that is going to glorify it regardless. You just got to find where you fit, and I'm pretty much it looks like to me, I always thought it was going to be probably 80s anyway.
Mm-hmm. Same. Yeah.
Because I always felt that Microsoft was forcing you to love Redfall when we really wanted Starfield. And
like, here's your appetizer.
Basically, do I really need an appetizer? Yes, you do. We need time to cook the main course, type of feeling. And it always felt to me that, all right, if we're gonna get it, we gotta love it, type of thing. And then to hear the bad news about it, it just confirmed a lot of our fears of the game. People, it's really more or less, is Starfield going to be 30 frames? This is an afterthought. This is it's not the first thing that's going to come into your mind. Pause for what you want to play from Bethesda, right?
Yeah.
You want Starfield. And I'm pretty sure if you ask anybody in this chat, they would sacrifice this game for Starfield if they can have Starfield in its place right now.
Of course. Right? Yeah, of course.
Right. So you're going to get the secondhand syndrome with this game.
Yeah, the problem is, like, I know that Redfall, you can look at it as an appetizer to hold us over till we get Starfield, but it is the very first new AAA IP on Xbox's new studios conglomerate, and this is not a good look. Like, there were people in the chat who are saying it's at a 64 meta already as they start to roll in right now.
But 62.
62. Wow.
Yeah, I'm on it right now, and there's actually quite a few reviews up. There's about 20 reviews right now, and it's sitting at a 62. The highest ones were, ironically, Xbox Era, our boys over there. So Xbox Era, and I can't see the other name. My old eyes can't read that thing, so I'm trying to look at it. But and the rest of them are in like the 60s.
Yeah, I heard
like
Xbox
40s.
Era was they really enjoyed it, and they were going to give it a 9. I'm sitting at somewhere around a 7, but I can't finish it because I didn't get it long enough. But let me say some good things. The guns are really cool. The animations for the guns are great. I think the feeling of the guns are great. The tiered weapons is pretty cool. You don't get as much. You get a little bit more loot than you do in Destiny. So I can see Xbox fans this coming week playing this more like Borderlands. But when you play alone, it has some cool atmosphere. It's just there are so many empty places, and the humans on screen, they are not aggressive at all. They really do stand there, but the vampires are flanking, slapping, smacking, charging, teleporting, shooting. That's very cool. Those are like the big high-end moments where I get a little shaky and nervous that I don't want to die and go all the way back to the safe house. So you will have bouts of great fun playing Redfall, and I fear this is what happened to a lot of us that previewed the game, because King, when we went to LA or San Francisco or New York and people had reviewed the game, like, previews are very positive. And I think it's because we all got that 1 hour of fun that we got honed in on when they handed us a controller. And then when you get out there, and you cannot play this game like an exploration open world. You cannot go out in the city and say, let's see what's out there today in Redfall. You will be sorely disappointed. There'll be almost hardly anything to go into houses or stores. The loot's not that cool. There's not many enemies. It's kind of crazy.
So you feel that it's really sparse, and had they gave the environment more life, that it would raise the score with more things to do that you do.
Yeah, I mean, you need the city doesn't feel alive. It really is only meant for you to go to a mission. If you play this game and you just go grab your mission from the table, go walk over to the area, kind of beeline straight toward it and do the mission, you're going to have a really great time. But if you try to go out and organically play this game, you're going to be like, what? No game does this. Like, no game just gives you a huge open town like this with not much to encounter or any side activities. There are nests that pop up later. They're like open areas where I'll have this later on where you actually teleport into a psychotic fourth dimension, which is interesting, but people are already saying this feels like State of Decay 2 in first person.
Well, the reviews, the number one complaint, well, not the number one complaint, but one of the many complaints in the reviews are it's a very sparse open world. Like, it's just that there's nothing going on, and there's nothing to immerse you into the experience where they're like, okay, just like you were saying, like you say, you can go to point A to point B to point C to point D. However, in between those, you know what I mean? In between those areas, like from those different spots where you're going to move, is that there's nothing happening. So you're literally just sort of beelining from one to the other because there's nothing else to do. You're not you're not soaking in the world around you. You're not exploring, whatever stores and looting and you know what I mean? Like walking into a jewelry store, start smashing stuff and you know what I mean? Grabbing like supplies you need for the mission and this and that. Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
That's another thing.
But it seems like there's nothing. You're just going from A to B and you're back to shooting vampires.
Yeah, that's another thing. The loot is basically ammo. You can find guns that you can't pick up guns off of enemies. Those disappear in the world. They drop them and they just dissolve. You only pick up loot, tiered guns or weapons, and then there's I don't know how to explain it. There's like money, basically. Anything you pick up instantly becomes money. And then you use that money to buy more ammo or buy more med kits when you run out. So you can stand there in the middle of the world, which you can't pause because it's always online. And while you're in, doing inventory, you get killed by a vampire. That's fun. You can stand there right here in the middle of this fight and go into your menu and salvage all your stuff into currency. Or you can go back to a safe house and go to the merchant and do the same thing, which makes that totally pointless. So the meaningful thing that we love in games like Fallout or Borderlands or other open world RPGs that, where you interact and you have meaningful things in the world. My problem with Arcane didn't think of any of this. This doesn't come into the equation. This game was supposed to launch in September of last year. They moved it, 6 to 8 months to May. And, people are like, well, it'll be better in 6 months. I am wondering if Arcane is going to get this game running the best they can and then just say, we're moving on, because
I believe so.
Yeah,
I believe so. Because I'm of the mind that I know this is going to hurt a lot of Xbox dudes' feelings. And Kay Asante said it on our show on Sunday. He believes that this game was like a PlayStation game, and then they ported it over, and that's with the frame rate thing, and that could be so. Because it was one reportedly in development. The game was, in development until Microsoft purchased the studio. And, hey, you're going to focus on this now. I think that they should have tethered the characters. I think
you think that would have helped?
Yeah.
Because on PC, the performance is all over the place. I've got I have a Ryzen 7 and a 3080, and I've set it at 1440p 60. And I turned off like all the extra crap. I'm running at medium and high settings. And okay, look at this right here. If this is while I'm talking, you'll see this door jam. There's a massive aliasing issue because DLSS is really aggressive in the game and it does not work. So I turned off all the crutches and the game looks more sharp. But in the beginning, I left it like this. The flashlight also just washes out everything. I walked around a house for probably an hour on party chat with Miles while he was working on his content for Redfall. And he said, the key you're looking for is on this table right in the back room. And I said, I've been in there a million times. And I look and my flashlight, because the room's pitch black.
So it was washing out all the detail.
Yeah, the lighting. I just got off playing Dead Island 2. I put like 40 hours into it. The game is beautiful. One of the most beautiful games. The lighting takes ray tracing and kicks it right in the pants. Dead Island 2 looks beautiful and it runs flawless. This game's baked in lighting. I don't even know what they are using in Unreal Engine 4, but it does not look nice and it's very harsh. Super black, super bright. But gosh dang it, I've had so much fun playing it. And I really have to say that because like I would give this game anywhere from around a 7, right? And I haven't even got to any main bosses. I haven't called the Rook in, which when you make too many zombies mad, this meter fills up and you have this huge boss battle. I haven't done any of that because I haven't had enough time to play it. And I heard from so many people who are reviewing it behind the scenes. I love it. I like it. I don't like it. I'm liking it again. I'm loving it. I don't like it. Like as they went along, as they kind of evolved through it, and I kind of felt the same way. Does that make sense, audience? I'm trying to, because I can only give you a review impression at this point.
A large range of emotions with a game that, you know, is pretty much forced upon you to like, and you're trying to find the things that you're going to like in it.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm a weirdo, dude. All right. I'm going to find something to love in a game. I'm going to figure out what makes it work or what doesn't make it work or whatever. And I'm going to play with a couple of guys. And I mean, the game doesn't look horrible to me. And I can't for the life of me tell anybody that it looks horrible. I've played some horrible looking games. I've played some really good looking games that didn't have any substance. Hopefully, you know, they can do some patchwork, fix up whatever the problems are. But I don't think you're able to fix up the missing encounters that should be there. You know, if a game was supposed to release in September of last year and got delayed all the way till now, you would hope at some point in time that those moment-to-moment encounters, you could have went to the 343 team. You could have asked those guys over, you know, at the Gears of War team, how do you do the moment-to-moment encounters that keeps the game fresh? You know, I thought Microsoft was supposed to be having these conferences where all the developers have the phone to call the other developers and talk to the other developers.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, the Advanced Technology Group, which we'll talk about later as well.
Is that only happening in the Microsoft building and Bethesda people is only, you know, in the Bethesda building? Are they still separated from one another? What's going on here? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really say, but let's just pretend that you know, maybe Xbox sent the Advanced Technology Group in when it was far too late. Let's just say that happened. I don't know. It just boggles my mind.
You know, Colt, it's a pretty telling thing that what you just told me, or not told me, what you told us about how you felt about the game as you were playing it, right? And now I'm just going to take that and I'm going to, you know, sort of put it up against the litmus test of what I'm playing right now. And I bought in a week, I told you about this, I went on a buying spree, right? So I got Dying Light 2, I got Dead Island 2, I got Burning Shores, I got Resident Evil 4, of course, and I think that was everything.
Wait, is Burning Shores a medical condition, or is that...
No,
well, that's, you know, well,
Horizon.
what happens in Vegas, right? So anyhow,
right.
We'll move along from there. So I bought like 5 games in a week, right? And so I'm excited. Oh, and Jedi Survivor, right? So that was the last one. So I got them all, and I know all these games are hot. So I'm like, yes, I can't wait. So I started playing Resident Evil 4. I played it through once. And of course, don't forget, I've also played this on 3 other systems in 3 different generations, right? I come back and I play this again. I can't put it down. I can't stop. I played it through once. Now I'm doing a second run through of there's an achievement for it of with just a gun and a knife and no heals, right? So I'm in the middle of doing that right now, and I can't stop playing it. I can't. I'm not playing Dead Island. I'm not playing Burning Shores. I'm not playing Jedi Survivor. I haven't even turned on Dying Light 2. And you know what the feelings I get are? I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it some more, and I love it. So when the reason why right. So the reason why I'm what? Foxy Jedi, you better keep up. The guy says I talk too fast. Listen, I'm not even talking fast right now. I'm considered tired at this moment. Anyway, the point is,
I mean, you're under the speed limit for a guy our age, but go ahead.
Normally I'm a little bit faster than this, but I'll talk even faster just to upset this guy.
He's got a lot. He's got to say, Jedi. Let him do it.
Foxy Jedi's a great name. Foxy Jedi, that's a great name, by the way. Add me on Twitter. Come on, let's be friends. Anyway, here's the thing. What? I love it, love it, love it, love it some more, and love it. But when you say things like I love it, I hate it, I sometimes like it, I accept it, then I love it again, then I hate it again, I'm like, this is not a good look for me. For me personally, that doesn't. Again, I could talk all day and I could turn blue in the face and say, hey, listen, you know what? It's up to the user. Obviously, it's just like a movie. Everything is subjective, right? Art is subjective. You could walk into a film and say, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen. And then 20 other people could say it's the worst movie I've ever seen, whatever, right? I get that.
I also loved from the very moment all the way to the end. I loved Crackdown 3 when everyone hated it. When I played Dead Island 2.
I loved Crackdown 3. It was fun.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, the multiplayer is crap. But anyway, when I played Dead Island 2, like from the very moment all the way to there was like a little hour I was getting frustrated with one of the side quests. But you know, we're not dumb. Like you guys all here, thank you to the 1,200 plus people that are watching the show. You know by looking. Like, and I got to give all of you credit because the masses were telling me that Redfall was going to be really iffy, is going to be dicey, or it was not going to do well. And I played it. I was super excited. I should have listened. I know everybody. Tomorrow and through the week, like I said, you're all going to be telling me how much fun you're going to have, and I'm going to have a big smile on my face because I love hearing that. But I knew immediately that I loved Dead Island 2, and I did for the entirety of the game. This one, you know, having those up in like we used the word roller coaster, Miles and I a couple times while we were talking about it. Like you shouldn't really have a roller coaster. So what boggles my mind, King, is how come Arcane and Pete Hines and the Bethesda and Arcane team couldn't sit down with one of the builds last year that was nearly ready before launch in 2022 and said, this is really great, but this isn't working, and this could be better, and this isn't working. And it's almost like they just said, leave the dips. Let's just get this out the door, and maybe we have something even better to work on. But I think Xbox fans deserve much better. But I think people are really still going to have some fun. But
the problem is, Colt, is that it's not the game. It's the fact that there's these long gaps in between the games that hyper focuses everything that Microsoft does, right? So everything is put under a microscope and then it's amplified, right? It's what I've always said. It's what I call, before Disney, I call it the Star Wars effect, right? I've said this a million times, and this is the kind of thing where, you know, George Lucas in 1998, he said, there is no way I can meet the expectations of fans because they've been waiting 17 years for this movie, right? And he openly said it. He said they're going to hate it or they're going to love it, but he says, I can't match their expectations. The problem with Microsoft is that the last game was, who knows how long ago it was. You know what I mean? Like, my kid was like basically born and now he's a teenager in between games. Like, it's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, it's
like
been almost a year and a half.
Passed.
It's been almost a year and a half. And it's been divisive.
And therefore, what ends up happening? It becomes hyper focused because that's all you've got, right?
Yeah.
And so therefore, and then of course, it's what I like to call the Xbox tax, right? Because, you know, anything else you can get like a little bit of a slide. Xbox always got to pay a toll before they cross the bridge, right? So you got to, you know, knock off a few numbers off of Metacritic every time there's, you know, a game reviewed on Xbox as opposed to anything else. However, I'm not damage controlling that. I'm just saying, because they have so few and far between, it becomes, we forgot about Hi-Fi Rush. But besides that, I'm talking about these, you know, like these big like games that they've announced for a long period of time.
And they were promoting
the hell out of. And then, of course, don't forget, they also delayed the game a whole year. So people's expectations were even higher, saying, give them the time they need to work on this. Fantastic. Take the year. We'll play other games. We'll do anything else. And then all of a sudden you waited that year, and then this is what comes out. This is why people get so angry and upset. Have you guys read the chat? I'm reading the chat as you guys are talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
I'm gonna tell the chat this because I'm tired of you guys whining for no reason.
Speak it.
On the blue team, you gotta buy before you try. That's it. You can try before you buy. If you don't like it, uninstall. Let them know with your engagement numbers that it wasn't hitting it. But you know what? You don't want to acknowledge the fact that you guys are frauds. You talk all this mess here, and you sit here in the chat, and I don't like how it looks. And lo and behold, we found out that you have 60 hours in the game later on at the end of the week. Not even 40 hours in the week, the work week, and you putting 60 hours into the game. Listen, you frauds. I'm going to tell you frauds right now. You got Game Pass? Go play it. Go download it. Go have fun.
I mean,
right?
Yeah, I mean, these games are like 40 cents a piece when you break them out on Game Pass, but Mag kind of covers that. It's been too long where Xbox had some bespoke, unique games from their studios.
I'm talking about the public perception of what, you know what I'm saying, of what ends up happening, and then it puts everything in a negative light, right? And obviously, if the game is not what people are expecting, that does not help the situation, because then that just literally solidifies what everybody's feeling, right? Not everybody, but like, a lot of people. And then there are people out there who do who do basically just want it to fail, the company to fail and this and that, whatever. So they're hanging on to every excuse. Like, for the love of God, that dragon guy, holy Jesus, the guy must have tweeted about 28 times today. If anybody saw that going on, it was like about the ACG thing, it was over and over.
How many lollipops did he go through today?
It was, okay, like the weather guy in the radio? Every 15 minutes. It was like...
On the hour after the hour, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fire Phil Spencer. I'm Red Dragon.
I don't. There's a lot of things that go into that guy. Anyway, pause.
Well,
listen, the game isn't that bad. From what I'm saying, go out and make your own opinion of the game. Try it out, and see what you like. I know sometimes you wait for your best review guy, your best critic, to talk about the game, because y'all have a sense, you feel a simpatico nature with the individual, that they play the games that you play and they pretty much have the same opinions that you have. But again, nobody can tell you how steak tastes but yourself, right? So go in there, dig in. Maybe you have to put some A1 sauce, play with a couple of people, to change up some of the things that brings the number down.
Yeah, get that co-op synergy and the power synergy, which I didn't really get to experience early on with Layla and with Remy when I played with Gaz. But I do have to say that, like, you will have fun playing this game, but you cannot deny that it makes you feel like you're playing a game that came out in 2012. Even if it's on your Xbox Series X. I mean, the problem with the 30 frames, which I'm going to kind of leave it alone because I beat the dead horse on the 30 frames thing. That patch's going to come later, and you can always play it on PC if you have the opportunity, blah, blah, blah. But when you have the tower of power of the Series X and you're stuck at 30 frames with a game that feels in design, visuals, and some of the design choices that it feels like something that came out next to Far Cry 3, which those games were great back then. I would still love them today, but right now a game coming out should feel more modernized, and some of the quality of life things, like your character doesn't grab any handle, any door, doesn't open anything, doesn't interact with the world. Everything happens telepathically, which is honestly, it's lazy, but in this day and age, it's something first-person shooters at least need. Third-person games also need it, and it just kind of boggles me. It's like, what, you had extra time. Like, why wasn't somebody on the team saying, hey, this group of people over here in the office, you normally do stuff on the extra animations. When you go down the fire pole, can you have it go into third person so we can see our character for a brief second while they slide down the fire pole? Instead, you go down the fire pole with your tongue. Like, I don't know how you go down. You don't see hands or anything. In first person, you just go, and you hear the down the fire pole. It kind of makes you laugh. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, it's not something to freak out about, but it's like, Arcane, you've done so much better in the past. Their games are incredible. Prey is one. Here's another reason why I was so excited at first, and then my excitement kind of changes as I go along. When I first started Prey, I didn't even like it at all. And then once I got past the 2 or 3 hour mark, it became one of my favorite games of the entire generation. It is brilliant. But I wish I could keep up with the chat. Please give us a like button. hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. I know you might be tempted not to hit like because you're seeing Redfall, but I worked really hard on putting all the footage together. I'm pouring my guts out, trying to give you a good idea, because it's all up to you. We shouldn't be slaves to the Open Critic or the Metacritic number. Like ACG put out a review that's probably up by now, where he says it's one of the worst games he's played in 2023. I trust the guy. He's amazing, and he's played a lot of games. And this doesn't stand up to some of the amazing games we have access to right now, even. But I have had a lot of fun up and down the roller coaster, and I'll be playing. I'll play it all the way through. That's just kind of how it is. I don't know. There's some weird stuff in the chat, like people using the word like coping. Look, I am being as forthright as I can. And I've talked to so many people today that have told me I'm just going to enjoy it for myself. And you have to respect that there are people who are going to love a 62 Metacritic game, and there's people who are going to not even bother finishing a 92 Metacritic game. Right, King? Am I wrong?
Yep, you're right. Because I still haven't finished God of War. And I'm gonna keep that a buck. It's sitting right there on my PlayStation. I'm in the same spot. It just started feeling like the same thing over and over again. Listen, some people like different things, and maybe this is right up your alley. I'm telling you, the caveat with this game is it's try before you buy. If you happen to have Game Pass, you won't be out to $70. Go try the game out. You don't like it, don't play it. But at the same time, don't bash it if you haven't played it. Give it a chance, give it a shot, and then rip it apart if you don't like it. Tear it to shreds.
Let me say something to Jonathan. Jonathan Lewis says I'm a literal joke because I hyped up the game and now I don't like it because it's 30 FPS. Like, Jonathan, pay attention. I told you that I played an hour of a high-level character in a closed environment in LA. I had access to a bunch of powers. I was on a main big mission. I went through a part of the map that is not even accessible this early on in the game. And we all enjoyed that. And you've seen everybody change their tune as they got more access to the game. This is an unfortunate situation that really frustrates me, where Xbox or Arcane put out this game. They put the embargo the moment the game is available so they could eke more sales and Game Pass subscribers. I don't like that. I enjoyed the game a lot. I made a preview. I was super excited about it. We were all super excited about it that played it. So save the insults, bro. I mean, come on. It's easy for you to sit there. It's so easy. It's so easy to sit there and go.
Okay.
They set up the room for you. They wined you. They dined you. They brought stuff out. They had you sit down. They gave you a good whatchamacallit, a good scenario to play from. A playthrough that they know that this area in the game is really good. Let them play it from this point on. So of course he's gonna walk out the room singing nothing but high praises, right? I mean,
we were all happy
set up that way, right? And this is not the first time I'm hearing this, because at the same time, COG and Sovereign went in New York, right? I wasn't able to go. They was able to go.
I mean, what was their initial reaction to the game back then?
Same thing. You know, they did the interview. They had they have the dev up and stuff like that. You can go to lordsofgaming.net, check it out. But the same thing. So this is why it's so baffling to me, right? This is why I'm so confused with these guys. Said they had a good time. Colt said he had a good time, and then they get the game. It's depowered. Nobody's inside the room with you, and they're like, "Here, you have it now," and you're playing it. And you're starting to see the flaws. Those flaws wasn't evident to you when you was inside that room, because you wasn't allowed to go around the city and see if it was any sparse interactions with things. You're finding that out on your own right now. So I commend you, and I take my hat off to you for being real and giving the real, because you could have kept the same energy and said, nah, it's really fantastic. It's really the greatest thing since sliced bread. But you didn't. You said what was wrong with it, and you owned up to it. So if anybody feels that you're not keeping it real, you got to listen to his words and not what you want to hear. Listen to what he's saying out of his mouth.
Meg, what do you think? King gave a great speech.
Yes, he did. No, as for you, Colt, I am. You know those pictures of the Pinocchio noses that they have? I'm posting that all over Twitter tonight. So I'm gonna make sure. Okay, so King, this is what happened. So a bunch of guys obviously went after Colt. I think it was last week or the week before. I think it was last week about him going out to LA to play. Yeah, so they did all those things. You know, like those Jim Ryan pictures and the Phil Spencer pictures with the long nose and they're calling him a liar and all that stuff, right? So what I did is I screenshot every single one of them, and every once in a while I'll send one to Colt just to remind him. I'm like, Colt, you fraud.
Yep,
and, just to get a good laugh out of it. And actually, I put a couple up on Twitter too. So when you put something, I put that picture underneath. I'm trolling the hell out of him. I love it, Colt. I can't help it. Trolls, keep it going, man. It's always fun. I enjoy the trolls. And actually, they did one to me too. Did you see that?
You?
They put a nose. Yes. Because I happen to be standing next to you in one of our photo shots that we did. There's a picture of you, Colt, pointing at me, and there's me holding the sword, my samurai sword, right? And someone put the nose on me, too. And I'm like, this is fantastic. Anyways, I love it. Doesn't matter. Listen, everybody, you do you, however you want to do. I'll check it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll check it out down the road.
Hey,
when
if all you got is a smartphone and a left hand, go for it. Yeah, go for it. We love it.
Sorry, what are we talking about here, Cole?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. So, that I don't know. That's
100 episode, Colt. Oh, man.
Episode 100, baby. I mean, I can't believe the show's has made it this far. You know, we've got King here for about 20 more minutes before he has to bounce. He's got to go. He's got to go
work,
hang out with. Oh, work. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we really appreciate you being here, King. You were one of the first guests I had on way early on in the show. And it's always been really great to have you. And we always say we consider each other friends, but if you would come to E3 again, we could hang out. But we'll have to figure out something else. But I don't know.
Be at PAX West this year. So, as soon as we find out what's going on with PAX West, we just took our money from the E3 place that we was going to stay and all that other stuff. And we're going to switch the flights over to the PAX West, and we're going to stay at PAX West, and we're going to give everybody the information that they need from there. But, listen, companies, big companies, if they can save a buck, they're going to save a buck. It is what it is. E3 is going to be what E3 is going to turn out to be later. But we have other gaming cons that we can go to, like PAX. The PAX gaming cons are really good. If you can go to the PAX West, go to PAX East, go try those places out. They're really fun. So hopefully I can get Colt to come out to PAX West, and me and him can go have a good time. And
I'll definitely be there. We went last year. And they made us wear masks last year, like this late in the whole thing, and that was super annoying. But hopefully that's going to be over.
Nope, they did that at PAX East this year too.
Just really,
yes,
that's surprising considering you can go to any sporting event with 50,000 people there. Football's even more, 70,000.
Yeah, baseball games. Yep.
And there's no masks. You have to wear masks at PAX. That's madness.
I mean, I'm they made me get the jab. I got the jab, and I was really annoyed at it, and it was very audible because every time they told me to put my mask on, I said, I'm bringing them in close. I'm like, what? Excuse me, I can't hear you.
How are you?
Man, get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I was annoyed that when I posted pics from PAX in 2022, it was July, and they're like, "Why are you wearing a mask?" I'm like, "Cause we were forced to." But whatever. That's all political.
Too bad. I mean,
slow down right there.
What's that?
Okay, I'm looking at the scene like you were shooting at. See, I'm behind right now, right? So I'm looking at the scene when you were shooting in the tunnel of the bridge, and it was
that was on PC and the frame rate tanked, so I shut the game off or I closed the game and restarted the save. Yeah, on PC, it's all over the place. I mean,
I said, I don't play on PC.
Tanked?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
the frames down
bad, yeah. The frame. I'll go into the menu and come out, and it'll be 30 frames for about 8 seconds. Like right now, it's doing it. If for those who are watching after the fact, they'll see it on time. But when they put out the PC specs, like the Ultra at 4K was my exact specs of my PC over here that you can't see. And I was like, oh, cool. What I'll do is I won't do it at Ultra 4K. I'll go high 1440p. And when I tried it at 4K, it tanked. So I put it at 1440p and I lower settings because I know I sound like a graphics or performance snob. I just want it to hold 60 and the rest is just fine. I'm not going to worry about shadows and stuff like that. Whatever. But the PC has problems. And this is why I said on my shows or on other podcasts that they made some CPU choices that are hard to reverse right now. And it's one of the reasons why they need to take time to get the performance up on PC and console. And I got laughed off of the face of the earth on Twitter from people who don't know what they're talking about. Then the next day, King Digital Foundry goes, yeah, we think it's CPU intensive and they've made some design choices that aren't easily fixed. And they're going to have to take all the time to move things around and processing to different parts, RAM, GPU, CPU, etc. So yes, but you'll see some frame drops in 30 frames on Series X, but it'll mostly be a stellar 30 frames. I think that might get toward the end of this footage, but let me read a couple of supers that were super nice to say something. Brad Ward Fight sends his Canadian $2, says, it's getting so hot here. Ecstasy 100, let's go. And Hargy Chani sends an incredibly gratuitous, wonderful and sexy super chat for $100. And he says, congrats on 100 episodes, Colteastwood. And Hargeet's been there through every single one of them. I appreciate him. Danny Passion says, here installing Redfall, had a high hope for it, but at least I will be playing on PC with my 4090. So, $6,000 GPU. Love it.
He'll be playing it at 1080p.
Juan Guzman, thank you so much. He sends a $10 donation to the channel and to the show. I really appreciate it. Red Wolf, my good friend, says, congrats on the 2K subs and episode 100. I put up some numbers. I think there's, like 2,000 followers or 3,000 followers on Spotify and Apple or something like that. It's been really good. Or 9,000? I don't know. But we really appreciate people who check out the show. And if you're listening audio only and you can't see my face contorting as I try to remember the numbers, thank you for being there on Spotify and Google. But let me move forward before I read some more because we got King here on limited time. King, I want to talk to you about what Bethesda said. They said in May of 2022, exactly 1 year ago, they put out a public service announcement and said, we're delaying Starfield and Redfall to the first half of 2023. The teams at Arcane and Bethesda Studios have incredible ambitions for their games, and we want to ensure you receive the best, most polished versions of them.
That didn't age well. That didn't age well. I mean, okay. Y'all gonna be saying I'm
I'm gonna lean back for this one,
and I'm doing the Defense League stuff. You know, when you start to look at where the game can launch at, I think it was kind of kicked out the door. Like a mama bird smacks the bird out the nest, and if it flies, it flies. If it falls, it dies. And I really don't think there's any place for you to hold this game unless you're going to hold it for Halloween. And then you got to think about if you hold it for Halloween, you have Call of Duty coming out then. And they really thought that the ABK deal would be done. And this is the problem. This is the problem when you put all your eggs in one basket and you're expecting one thing to go one way and everything to fall in line. There's a law out there. It's called Murphy's Law. And whatever could go wrong will go wrong. And it will do so at all times. And you have to be prepared for the wrong. And you have to set yourself up for the wrongs to happen. So they should have acted like this deal was going to get blocked. And they should have acted like they didn't have these assets that was waiting to drop. And they should have went along with planning and scheduling how they wanted to. I think this ABK deal has held up and crunched up and messed up a lot of things, but that doesn't excuse a game not being the best it can be at launch, right?
Yeah,
we can all keep it real. The fear is Starfield. Y'all will sacrifice this game at any point in time to make sure that Starfield is right. Right, so this is how you make sure that Starfield is right. This is how you make sure. First, you go play the game, be verified, take a screenshot, and post it and say, this is unacceptable. And if Starfield comes out in this condition, I won't play and I won't subscribe to Game Pass no more. I will fall back. You know, show that you participated, show your displeasure, show that you don't agree with certain things, but do so in a respectful manner and you'll be heard. Trust me, you will be heard. But the moment you become disrespectful and belligerent and you don't have your receipts showing that you played the game and you just don't like this or don't like that, give some constructive criticism to the game.
And don't use a laughing, crying emoji when you do this.
Thank you. Just be an adult going into it. Put on your big boy pants or your big girl pants and go into it and voice your opinion very intelligently. And trust me, you're going to be heard. I haven't played the game yet. And you will hear my thoughts on the game. I'm playing Jedi Survivor right now.
Can I get your thoughts of how you feel from looking at the game for half an hour plus?
It's still the same. For me, it's still the same. I'm just like you guys. I don't got a free controller coming, Colt. Yeah. Listen, I know because I give COG and Sovereign, the ribbon. Yeah, if I don't win out, I got the free controller too. So I got to go on my Xbox every day and I got to watch that video of Redfall to try to win a free controller. Just like I'm sure a lot of you guys are doing. So I'm pretty much saw a lot of video of this game, probably the same clips though, but it didn't take away from my wanting to play the game and wanting to have my own experience, because that truly is the only way you can give your opinion, if you truly have your own experience with something, and then you can talk with firsthand knowledge instead of secondhand regurgitation. I just believe in that.
Yeah. I just keep thinking about the moments of fun I have, and I look forward to hearing that from the fans who are going to play it. But I think people have already kind of understood, Mag, that this game isn't going to blow their socks off of their feet and show their toes to the world. Their expectations are set. Mag, what do you have to say about the game from what you've seen? Where are you sitting?
Well, here's the problem.
Give us a review, since you didn't.
Well, yeah, the review of me not playing it. My thoughts are this, though. I was gonna wait on the game anyway. I said, you know what? When they patch it, they fix it, they do whatever they got to do to get their 60 frames up, get if there are any bugs, get them worked out and all that kind of stuff. I'll play it down the road when it's at something that I deem reasonable for me to play. Like I said, a shooter at 60 frames for me. Like, for example, I play Borderlands. I'm a huge Borderlands fan. Those games come at 4-player co-op, and they're all at 60 frames per second, and they move the way they do and everything else. I will play it in that condition. Same with Far Cry and anything else, right? Anyway, the point is that my fear is that by the time they fix all this stuff, no one's going to be playing it anymore. And so they'd be like, hey, guys, who wants to go and play Redfall? Everybody's going to be going, Red who? Because, if they couldn't make Halo stick around, I mean, and I don't mean stick around. Obviously, it's still around. And it actually, from what I heard, is actually some of the new stuff they release is actually pretty good. The problem is nobody's playing it. Have you seen the metrics?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that the problem is it's once again, it's one of those situations of too little too late. By the time they fix this thing and they go, all right, guys, we got it up to 60 frames per second. Bugs are worked out. We got, I don't know, we have a DLC map. We're going to give you like a little extension of the island or this, that, the other thing. Go. Who's going to be there? Right? That's the problem. And that the problem is retaining the people. And that's the big fear, especially when you got something with you have online where you're going to have a subscription service where you want people to keep paying each and every month, right? Mm-hmm. They do that for a reason. For example, Disney Plus, I've said it a million times. Why do they start a season halfway through the month? Mm-hmm. They don't start at the beginning of the month because they want you to pay for 3 months, not for 2, right? So by doing that, right, and that's why they do what they do. So that you pay for 3 months. And then the thing is, if they make episode 5 and 6 really hot, you're going to subscribe for that 3rd month, let's say, if you're doing it month to month, because you want to see what happens in the next episode. The problem here is that they're going to have to do something else to retain people if this game is not going to last long. If it falls flat on its face, I'm sure it's going to be hot for a couple days, but then what's really going to be interesting is what you and I are going to be talking about next Monday, or maybe 2 Mondays from now, or 3 Mondays. That's when I want to revisit this conversation. Right. I want to revisit this conversation in 2 or 3 weeks and see exactly where we stand. That's where we're going to say, all right, nobody's playing it. No one's talking about it. There's no screenshots. Or miraculously, 10 million people are playing the game and all of a sudden the thing's hot. We don't know. And we're not going to know until look at Sea of Thieves. Like I said, I'm not going to do any of this damage control because I haven't played the game. I haven't done anything. I'm just saying, look at Sea of Thieves. Came out flat. But then all of a sudden it started to grow. Like, it's almost against all odds. It ended up with 20 million concurrent players, or not concurrent, but like
if you added up all the scores of the expanded content, Sea of Thieves would be probably in the high 70s. But I don't think Arcane's going to continue to try to improve this game. I think they're just going to fix it, and then they're going to forget it, like the old Ron Popeil.
Like that thing from the set it and forget it.
Yeah, the Ron Popeil rotisserie for you Gen Xers who used to watch TV with a bag of potato chips on your lap. Yeah, King, we got a couple minutes left of you here, right?
I think this game was forced on them. Like, this is so out of Arcane's wheelhouse. A multiplayer game. With conjunctions of powers that have to work with each other, always online. This is a departure from their traditional ways of bringing a single player, story-driven narrative game that they like to get out the door. And I think we have to give them a pass on this one. Be honest with you, because either they did really well outside of their wheelhouse, or they did really poorly outside of their wheelhouse. But again, it's outside of their wheelhouse. So you have to take that with a grain of salt. And you know, a lot of you guys is going to be like, oh, there goes the Xbox fan. I got an Xbox chain on. Go ahead. Get out of here. You're not bothering me with it. But at the same time, this is not something that they're known for, right? So to do really well in something that you're not known for, you got to give a little thumbs up here. You got to give a little thumbs up. The execution may have been rough around the edges, but they did deliver, and I'm going to check it out, and I'll give you my opinion of it.
Yeah, I mean, Xbox fans deserve much better. They've been waiting for that big moment, and the new AAA IP from Arcane, who normally never misses, was the big famous quote of the past several months. 62 meta on Xbox. Holy crap. I'm curious to talk to everybody.
Below my bet. What did I bet? 77?
Peace.
Is that what you said?
I threw my chips down on 77.
Yeah, because I was saying it could be 80 or something.
You said 80. I think you said 81, I think, Colt. What did you say, King? 82? I said 77. I'm like, God, boy, was I off.
You know what makes me really mad is Randall Thor was right on this one, and I hate it when he's right. I hate it because he gets so smart. Rand. Yeah, and he's one of my best friends, but I will put him in a chokehold. And shout out to
worry,
Rand.
I already told you, I'll fix Rand. Don't worry about it. As soon as I cross the border, I'll do it.
Shout out to Rand. He's doing family stuff today, which maybe he'll check this out later and hear that I'm giving him a ribbing, but he called this quite a while ago. He waited. He's like, Colt, when you come back, you got to tell me how Redfall is. And I was like, I think it's going to be like a low 80. And he's like, really? You think it's going to not be good? I go, no, there was just some parts where I went through on the way to the mission that just seemed kind of barren, but the gunplay's really good. The vampires get in your face and all that hype was totally different. Yeah. So King, we got one more minute for you. Thank you so much for being here. I want to get you out of here on time. Last time you were on the show, I kicked you off and everyone said it was super disrespectful.
He was like, I don't want to get out of here.
I don't want you here anymore. But yeah, I appreciate you so much, King.
I appreciate
what are your last words to the Xbox fans? The tears that flow.
Don't cry. Just try it and let it go. You guys been eating very well through Game Pass throughout the whole year. You know, it's just be real. Dig down to that little kid inside of you. Your real concern is Starfield. You know, this was the kid that they told you that you had to play with at camp, and like this is your buddy in school, and you're like, please. I don't even like this guy. You know, like everybody buddy up. Like I gotta buddy up with Redfall.
I gotta go hang out with the choir kid. Oh my gosh!
You know how you hold them with their hand like this? You're like walking like, don't you let your elbow touch my elbow. I don't even like you. But come on, listen, you guys have a good time. Play the game. You don't like it, voice your opinion. Take a screenshot, put it up there at Microsoft, and let them know what's wrong, what they can fix. If you do that and you do it in a respectful manner, I'm pretty sure that you'll be heard. But 100 episode, I was so happy when I saw the DM and you was like, can I be there? And you know, Colt, you call, I show up. It's like the bat signal. I
appreciate that.
I will always be there because you have been one of my most genuine dudes and you keep it real. And, you know, from what I told you before, again, always do what's best. And I appreciate you for doing that. So you keep it real. And you guys don't know, man, this stuff weighs heavy on your man's heart. And you can't be out here calling him a fraud if he's keeping it as real as possible. And he does it. He keeps it as real as possible. Mag, I love downstairs. I don't know if that's downstairs. I don't know if that's upstairs. But I love it.
It's the start of my arcade. I got 3 cabinets right now, as you can see.
Right. Yeah, I love this. I've
got the 35th anniversary edition of the Street Fighter 2. It's got 4 different Street Fighters and 11 different Capcom games. I got the big Buck Hunter going on here that has all 5 Buck Hunters on it. It's one for all of North America. Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
And it's the big Buck Hunter one. It's got the 2 guns too, just like they did in the bars. It's got the North American tour, the African tour, the Australian, and the Indian and the India tour all on there. And then of course right here, I've got the 30th anniversary edition of Mortal Kombat. This just came out a couple of months ago. I picked up that. It's got all the Mortal Kombat games, plus it's got about another 10 games from Midway on there as well. And then I've got a Miss Pac-Man machine coming, and I think that's. I'm hoping if I can get my hands on either an NBA Jam or an NFL Blitz, that's going to be the next one.
Oh,
So
that's a
yeah,
tough
I'm working on
pick.
I can only get one because they're expensive for those.
King,
ones,
what would you vote for? NBA Jam or NFL
Yeah.
Blitz?
Well,
What'd you say,
I gotta
King?
take myself out of this. I have an arcade machine that has over 62,000 games in it.
Yes. Okay, so what would you pick?
I'm gonna send you the link. NBA Jam.
Oh, you go for Jam. He's
I'll
hot.
go for Jam. Yeah, I will go.
Boom, shakalaka.
Definitely go for Jam. But what I do say is, this is what happens, you guys. You little, I don't know what gen you are, whining gens. You see us? This is what happens when us nerds grow up with money. We're able to enjoy the stuff that we like. See, you look at the background.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he had I'm not even going to try to butcher the name of the guitar that he has in the background. Mag has arcade machines that are to die for. And I'm sure as a kid, when he walked into the arcade machines, arcade room, this is what he wanted to see. He has it in his house now.
Back then, you were lucky to get
Oh, I even have the lighting obviously I'm doing a show, but I have blue lighting and everything. So then when all the cabinets are lit up, it's like you're walking into an 80s arcade. I'm 48, right? So, right. I mean, that was always my thing. When I used to walk through the mall, Ma, can I have a couple of quarters? She'd give me a couple of quarters and I'd run off to Wizard's Castle, and you go into Wizard's Castle and it was dark. Right? They always have the lights dim. And of course, the place was just full of smoke because you're sitting there, 8-year-old boy, and I'm sitting there playing. Yep, I'm playing Dragon's Lair, and I got this guy next to me going right in my face. And we were playing games all day. It was fantastic, man. And
stand next to you in Dragon's Lair. Put stick! Because if you don't hit the stick at the right time, you have to start over.
I'm not going to blow cigar smoke in my kid's face. It's the only difference. But
at Pizza Hut, or it was Pietro's Pizza in Washington, there was Dragon's Lair was like $1. It was $1 to play it. 4 quarters. And back in 87, $1 was like $7,000 today. So yeah. But
Did you have the
we're blessed.
hologram one? Because we had the hologram one. Did you see the hologram one? We had that hologram one and the Space Ace hologram one. Oh my God, incredible stuff. And we had hologram technology back then, guys. Yeah, right. Like they act like, we didn't have stuff. But we did. But you can see when nerds grow up what nerds do with their money. And I am a proud geek nerd, and I am so happy by seeing your man cave. It looks fantastic. Colt, your stuff always looks great. I had a great time with you guys tonight. And oh man, I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, let's talk soon. Thank you so much for being here, bro.
Yes, definitely.
All right, brother. Have a great night.
See you, King.
Good night, guys.
So yeah, holy crap, Mag. Crazy. Just crazy.
Yeah.
We've got a lot to talk about today. I want to give a shout out to the channel members and veterans as we get into the latest news and talk about where this actually sits for Xbox. Some light at the end of the tunnel and just some other crazy stuff that's been going on. Shout out to Mark Carwell, KY Bob Assassin, Lupa Jazzy, New Breaking Falong, Manic Master 6, Jason Lewan, Mo B, Lord Sidney Eater, William Riggs, Matt Burns, William Lanza, Udana Kizada, Nanopolymus, Suicide King, Red Wolf, Robert Jackson, Lord Star Killer, Dante Moody, Betamax, Stark, CMF, Gaz, Reek Havoc, Zarni White, Diavario 2 Gaming, V Simcoe, Assassin, Poochie, Dub, Larry Thatcher, Hargeet, Chani, TK Chillin. Oh, wow. Rainblade, Acute Perspective, True 77, Risky for the Biscuit, Micah Ford, Lord Soros, Red Soros, Dave UK, Quinn's Harmony, Attitude Ear, Pesky Krogan, Pen Pineapple Pen, Trail Roberts, Neil B, Boba Fett. The list is growing. Macbound, Meat Puppet, Kung Fu Hot Dog, Xbox International, Alan Deltre, Jedi, J Goalie, great name, gamer by choice, Rippin' One, Highlander, Havoc, and Zimic. Those are the people. Thank you so much for being here. Meg, I want to talk to you about, we kind of had to sit back while King was giving us the gospel, and I really appreciate that. I want to talk about one of the problems with Redfall is it's now Xbox's fault, right? This game has been in development since 2018 or whatever it's been. Now it's under Xbox management. I want to talk to you about what does Xbox need to do? Matt Booty is not in charge of Bethesda. That's Pete Hines. Who do they need to hire? How many people do they need to hire so that everything can be properly babysat?
Man, that's a tough question because how do you say it? All right, I'll just say what I feel. Here's the thing. They need the stamp of approval like Nintendo. I think I talked about this last
Yeah.
week. They need that gold stamp of approval that nothing walks out the door until it gets that. Like I said before, even when it comes to like when I used to work in restaurants and everything else in the restaurant business, if I messed up a guy's $50 steak, which never happened, by the way. Every time a steak came back, it was that guy's fault because the guy's he ordered a medium rare and it comes back and they're like, oh, he wants a medium rare. And I looked at it and it was exactly a medium rare. Anyways, it doesn't matter. That's the point. Sorry, old war wounds upset me. Anyways, here's the thing. The thing is, if I messed a guy's $50 steak up, it wasn't my reputation at risk. It was the owner's reputation. And the owner who put up $2 million to open that restaurant, okay, especially big restaurants that I used to work in, big flagship restaurants, and they paid $2 million to open that restaurant. It's his word. It's his reputation. And so that people will not go back to that restaurant, and it's my fault, right? It's the reflection of what I did is going to be the reflection of the bigger company, and it's the bigger company that's going to pay the price. The reason why I bring that up, it's pretty easy, guys, putting two and two together. If Bethesda's putting out a game for Xbox and it doesn't land and it doesn't stick the landing, then what's going to happen? It's going to affect Xbox. It's going to reflect on the company. It's going to reflect on Phil Spencer, even if he had nothing to do with it, per se, right?
Yeah,
it's going to reflect on all these people. So therefore, it has to have the seal of approval by every last person. It's got to pass through everybody's hands, get to that final stage, and then go, okay, then we can release this thing. The problem is, I understand at some point there was a pandemic situation, but the problem is your competition, both Nintendo and Sony, are absolutely releasing quality games, generally speaking, except for Forspoken, which was not a Sony first-party game. It was a third-party money-hatted game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? That game, by the way, that game is still coming to Xbox. Okay? It's a 2-year exclusivity deal. It's coming to Xbox in 2024. Okay? So, yeah, I know. They got like a 2-year exclusivity on it or whatever, right? But anyways, the point is that it's still coming to Xbox, so that's still a third-party game. But the point is, all the other games like Nintendo and Sony release first-party games that are of quality. There's not going to be the situation. Okay, people can talk smack about Burning Shores or whatever because of a certain choice you make towards the end of the DLC, which I haven't played yet. But that's not how you base a game on the merit of what the choices that you can make in the game. I understand some people are not happy with that stuff. That's fine. Go live your life however the hell you want to live it. But the point is, it's quality. And no one's complaining about the quality and the way and the presentation and everything else like that. Then you get a game, and again, once again, the biggest problem is that there's way too long in between games. Yes, Hi-Fi Rush was a wonderful thing to drop, like especially Shadow drop on everybody. And everybody's like, whoa, that was awesome. And then we got High on Life in December, which I actually thought was a lot of fun. I didn't realize, by the way, Chat and of course Colt, I didn't realize that it scored so low. I thought it scored much higher because it was actually pretty damn good. I enjoyed it. Like, it wasn't the best game, but it was fun.
Sure,
and it was and it played well. But anyways, apparently it scored very low. Anyways, I was surprised by that. Point is that in between all of their first party games, there's way too long of a gap. Therefore, once again, it magnifies the fact that if the game even has anything off, it's going to be magnified by 1,000, and it's going to make it seem worse. So once again, it's the perception issue.
It
and
is
that
a
is
perception
the biggest problem. And that's the problem with Xbox.
Yeah, it is a perception issue.
That it's the third place thing. It's going to stay in third place. It's never going to leave third place. Even ABK, they'd still be in third place. And this is the perception that they have to battle out of it.
Well,
right? So, you know what I'm saying?
You talk about PlayStation. Up. PlayStation's had quality releases. All their games have come out, and they look beautiful. But when I look at the list, there's an interesting difference between what Xbox is trying to make and what PlayStation makes. Now, PlayStation makes bigger, more impressive looking games, but God of War Ragnarok was built off the foundation of their last game. Spider-Man Miles Morales was built off the foundation of their last game. And then they released a remaster. Demon's Souls was remastered by a studio that wasn't theirs. Ghost of Tsushima was a director's cut. Death Stranding had a director's cut. Returnal is really impressive. Like, Returnal is the one outlier on PlayStation where Housemarque said, we want to go beyond the isometric or the side scroller, and they knocked it out of the park. Ratchet and Clank, a dressed up version of the last game. Play them back to back right now on your PS5. They're both 60 frames. They're both phenomenal, right? Like,
yeah, they're both great.
Rift Apart just looks a little bit nicer. It's more flourished, right? So, but it's built off that exact same foundation. It's all redressed.
But it works.
But it works. Yes,
it works.
Horizon Forbidden West. It's the exact foundation of the last game, but they prettied it up. They double the frame rate, and they add more stuff. Gran Turismo 7. It's an upgraded version of GT Sport. Uncharted remaster, Last of Us remaster, and then you've got the baseball games. That's pretty much what they've released. And I was talking to somebody about how Xbox is trying to put out these new IPs. Well, here we have Redfall, and I'm not damage controlling. I'm trying to tell you, PlayStation makes amazing looking games, but they've also had the advantage of working through this situation over the past couple of years where they took a foundation and improved on it and made the game even better, right? But you've got Redfall where they're trying something new. They're way out of their wheelhouse, like you and King were saying. Okay, and they fell on their face.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Colt. The thing is, it is absolutely a must. Oh, it is an absolute must that you should release new, interesting IPs. However, you need to be doing it on a foundation of quality. So, for example, like you're absolutely right. PlayStation, Sony's not stupid. A lot of their games have been remakes and remasters and whatever, and building off the foundation of PS4 games. And of course, a lot of them were launched on PS4 as well, like Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok. Those are PS4 games. Miles Morales, PS4 game, even though they touted it as a PS5 game. Whatever. The point is that they're doing all that now. What do you think they're doing behind the scenes? You think they're sitting there like this?
Naughty Dog's building like an amazing sci-fi adventure game.
They're building two games.
RoboCop doesn't know how to listen. Yeah, it's like, give me a break. He put the clown face on himself, and hey, thanks for the $2. I'm going to use that to, I'll use it to, I don't know, I'll buy some Taco Bell.
If you're coming with me. Here's the thing. But they built it on what they're doing. Sony is going to start releasing their actual PS5 games this year, starting with Spider-Man 2, and then of course beyond when they're doing Ghost of Tsushima 2.
I mean, is Spider-Man going to be in the same Manhattan? We've gone over that.
Well, we don't know. We talked about that. They'll have to do something different. First of all,
I think they're going multiverse.
Insomniac. Yeah, maybe something. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what. But the point is, they're not sitting on their hands. So they're going to keep pumping. So what they did is that they built this foundation, and then they could build up from there. If they have any experimental IPs or whatever this new game Naughty Dog is doing, I think it's a sci-fi game, right? They're pulling out all the stops on all these other ones. They still have they still have that layer of quality to fall back on in case some of these new IPs don't take off. The problem is with Xbox right now is that they have no foundation. So when they have a new IP sitting there, and if it doesn't hit expectations, there's literally a chasm that they're going to fall into because there's no foundation. There's no solid foundation anymore where they built up. The last time we really saw it, believe it or not, a lot of people think I'm nuts, but I'm not nuts. The Xbox One's first 3 years were better than the Series X.
I agree with you. And
the Xbox One that everybody clowns on. Everybody clowns on the Xbox One. The Xbox One trouncing the Series X this generation. They are trouncing it. If you think about all those games they launched from the launch of the Xbox One into the first 3 years of the generation.
Titanfall, Dead Rising 3, Forza Horizon 2. Yeah, it was big. Right? It was big.
And go on. Sorry.
I don't know where I want to go. I've got a couple of supers here. Juan Guzman, thank you so much for the $10 super. He says, does the XNC panel think that the reason that Redfall looks so sparse and empty is because it needed more time to develop? Or is it because the game inherently is just not that great of a concept? I've talked a lot about Redfall, and I would think the latter, that or just, I don't know if it's, the concept is okay. I mean, it doesn't break any new ground. I almost feel like when I play Redfall, I'm like, they just thought, let's make a game, like, let's pretend you're in the 2016, 2017s or whatever it was when they started working on this. And you're thinking, oh, people really like these 4-player co-op games. Like, those blow up and people really enjoy those and they last a long time. Let's go make one of those. And the team's heart wasn't in it because they didn't make that. That world is not alive. You don't even start the game, Mag, with it with an act. There were no cutscenes. I don't know if that was in my footage. I think it was while we were super busy doing the show. But when you go to start a mission, you get these 3D frozen dioramas where the characters are like talking at a table like this, and the camera hands.
Oh, God.
And the character's like,
more like
we
diarrhea.
knew over by the fire station. And I'm like, what? what the frick are you doing? Like, why can't, if you don't have time to make cinematics for the 15 main missions or whatever is in the game, why don't you farm it out? You have plenty of money. Like,
Yeah.
even when Xbox acquired them, like in 2020, they just said, "Oh, we've got Xbox now. We really need cinematics." Even Grounded put cinematics in and elevated the game. Like it boggles my mind.
Well,
I'm sorry.
The thing is, no, I was going to say the concept. I think the concept is fine. I like the idea. You know what it reminds me of? Does anybody remember a fantastic horror movie and a great graphic novel called 30 Days of Night? You know the one is God, for the love of God, Colt. You got to. I don't know if you're a horror fan, but 30 Days of Night is about these people that are in a town in Alaska where at 1 month of the year they don't have any sunset because of the way that they're geographically located, and the vampires know this, so there's no rest from the vampires because
that's cool.
There's no daylight, so it's actually dark for like the full 30 months. It's a pretty horrible it's actually a pretty horrible story because in real life it actually has one of the highest suicide rates in the world because there's no sunlight for such long periods of time, right? But anyways, the vampires know this, so the vampires go there and they basically can wander free, and you can't escape these vampires day or night because it's always night. But the idea is that you're in this town and you're basically going from house to house to barn to whatever, and dealing with these vampires, right?
Yeah.
Seeking shelter, killing vampires, finding nests, whatever. And this game is obviously this is like the inspiration, like maybe that movie graphic novel was the inspiration, but it doesn't seem to have anything in the world where basically it's going to drag you from A to B and nothing else to do. Like, for example, I played about an hour of Dead Island 2 only because I'm waiting for my wife. We're gonna play the co-op together. But the thing is, what I'm looking at is that when I'm going from A to B, I get distracted for about 45 minutes between A and B because there's all these other things to do.
Yeah, there are.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
like
there's all
you
these
can go
things
over
to do,
there
people to see.
And there will be something, but not in
and then
Redfall.
A side quest. Like I was walking down the street actually in Beverly Hills, and this guy, in the Hollywood Hills, and this guy on his intercom says something. Goes, can you come here for a second? Come here for a second. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And I look over and I see this little intercom talking to me, and it was a guy calling me from his mansion, and he's like, can you help me? Can you help me out? Get something for me and this and that. And I'm like, oh, little side quest. That's cute. So I went and did the side quest. While I'm doing the side quest, I started exploring his neighbor's house. Went in the backyard. I found three zombie girls in bikinis in the pool, and I went, and I was just like laughing my ass off. Yeah. Oh, and I went over with a car battery and I electrocuted them all to death, and I thought it was funny. And anyways. Then it was 45 minutes. I hadn't even got to point B, right? So I went from point A to point B. The point is that, no pun intended, is that there's something to do. And so therefore you feel enveloped in the world and you feel like you're in this world. And that's where I'm hearing, I haven't played it, but what I'm hearing from a lot of the hearing and seeing from a lot of these reviews and reading while you and King were talking earlier, I was scanning through some of the reviews, the same thing over and over. They go, it is literally just, no pun intended, a dead open world of nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, what is this?
Well,
I mean, we've had Grand Theft Auto came out 10 years ago with a full, open world of people and things and
in Redfall,
Red Dead Redemption, Sorry, go on.
No, in Redfall, the vampires caused a solar eclipse, and then they pushed the ocean tide out and froze it. None of that is shown to you outside of some still and watercolor. It opens with watercolor storytelling, like watercolor paintings of the characters and the town, and with some voiceover. I'm like I would expect this from some game that, dropped from a very small studio. And I don't know why anybody thought that was acceptable to have such a cool concept where your main characters crash on the ship that were evacuating Redfall to go to safety because of the what is about to happen with the vampires. And the storytelling is just done so lazily and no impressive presentation to it all. And, one of the guys in the chat was like, weren't you bragging about how great the game was a couple months ago? Yeah, because I played a really great section. So rewind the show and check that out. Like, we all got to play a really great section, and apparently we all got snowed. So happy days on that one. That was so weird because, like, I made a joke about Forspoken like a few weeks ago, and I said that Redfall isn't Xbox's Forspoken. Because at that time, when Redfall or when Forspoken dropped, when there was previews and trailers, it was immediately disliked, like by everyone. Like it was so hated on. And then the reviews came out and it was accordingly reviewed. This is like another slap to Xbox fans who we were so sure the ABK thing was going to close, and we were pretty sure that Redfall would be okay. And here we are. It's the Moses C split. Yeah, I mean, I snorted. That's great. It's crazy. Let me get these supers.
Go for it.
Abacab72, thank you so much for the 10. Says Bethesda's setup with Xbox is more like Rockstar would take two. Microsoft leaves Bethesda alone to do their own thing. I'm going to pretend like what he said is absolutely 100% true and needs to be changed. He said it was a stipulation in buying them. Too many lazy people think it's Xbox and Microsoft's fault. If that was a stipulation in the contract that Xbox had to be hands off and let them do their thing, it doesn't work that way when you're working with multi-million-dollar business deals or multi-million-dollar games being built. You have to get your team in there for QA/QC. You have to be nosy. You have to have project management sheets that we use at my work that give you colored graphs that run across project timelines. And Matt Booty, Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and whoever he needs to hire that will be in charge of making sure that the European studios, the Bethesda and ZeniMax studios, and Xbox Game Studios in North America all have that same level of babysitting. Right, Meg? Like, you cannot just sit there and go, Arcane's been proven. Let's just see how it's going to pan out.
This is what I'm saying. You can't just walk away and just be like, all right, they're governing themselves. Let them release the game, because it's your name on the product at the end of the day, right? You're the publisher. You're the owner, excuse me. You're the owner
Yes.
of the publisher. Therefore, that's like releasing a book without reading it. Like, just Stephen King shows up and he writes a book about a lamp monster. You know what I mean? The publisher's going to be like,
sounds fire.
They're going to be like, Steve, what the hell is this? A lamp monster? Sorry, that's an old Family Guy joke. Because they're just saying that Stephen King run out of ideas. And
Right.
anyways, the point is, they're not going to release the book. But imagine if they didn't read the book, and all of a sudden you're sitting on the shelves and it's Revenge of the Lamp Monster by Stephen King, and you didn't read the thing. The publisher's going to be like, what the hell was that? We just spent $300,000 distributing your book, and then another $3 million in advertising and shipping, and you released a Lamp Monster book? Come on, man. Get it together, right? And this is what's happening here with Redfall. You can't release a game without getting your hands on it, and there's no way on earth you can be sitting there playing it and going, yeah, cool, dump it, let's move on. No! Because this also reflects, as King mentioned earlier, this reflects on the thing on everybody's tongue now. And I've already got this gut feeling, plus, getting a good feeling from the community. You got about 30% who are going to play it, which is fine. Great, go play it, enjoy it, have fun. I hope you all the best. I'm not touching it.
I hope they say it's fun. Yeah, of course.
Like, hey, go ahead, have fun. Like I said, I think Rise Son of Rome was one of the greatest games of last generation. It was a 60 on Metacritic, right? So I don't care about that. I'll play, but anyway, I'm not going to play a 30 frame per second shooter. That's just me. Anyways, go ahead, have fun, do whatever. But a lot of people are just like, yep, forget it, on to the next. I actually heard somebody in the chat who already uninstalled it after an hour. He just said, I played it an hour ago, and he already uninstalled it. But here's the thing. Now everybody's sights are set on Starfield, right?
They are always set on Starfield, but
I know, but now
Redfall wasn't supposed to be the stop at the greasy spoon on your way to the big trip to wherever you're going with your family. Like, Redfall shouldn't be a side stop. It should be a really great game from a really great proven studio, and I don't know why this happened.
Colt, there it is in the chat. Just before I said it, what will happen if Starfield? This is from I can't pronounce it. I think Sir Q. What will happen if Starfield follows Redfall in terms of quality? That's what's on everybody's tongue now, and that's what King was.
I hear that question a million times, Mag.
That's hard.
And I feel the same way, sort of. Like, remember when King said Murphy's Law? Like, whatever bad happens is going to happen. Is that version of Murphy's Law? I get that complaint. Like, I hear you, but I also remind you, in a double-edged sword, this is not Arcane making Starfield. This is Bethesda Softworks. This is Todd Howard's team, who has delivered the most amazing games, sans Fallout 76, that they hired out to another studio.
But again, it's that perception, because you're under the same umbrella. You're under the same umbrella now. So therefore,
Redfall,
they don't care that it's Arcane. It's all Xbox now.
Yes.
And that's where it lies.
Arcane runs at 30 frames at launch on the Series X and Unreal Engine 4, so that automatically means to everyone else that Starfield and Creation Engine 2.0 will run at 30 frames, just because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And as my family likes to do when I get negative, right? And but I've been like really positive about, I'm pretty sure they're going to have a performance mode, but it ekes in. You know, Sir Q, I hear you. I got a couple more supers before we get to talking about more stuff. Biv Rinaldi says, still mopping up Hogwarts. Jedi's next. Plus, I bought a Switch. Now I got to catch them all. Congrats on 100 episodes. Hit that like button. Biff, thank you for being here through almost every single one of them. Probably all of them. Thank you so much. Detective Seeds says, I would rather pay for quality than try to pay for low quality for free. Let me read that again. He says, I would rather pay for quality than try low quality for free. If that's the approach of Game Pass, that's a horrible business model. And then he leaves a massive $100 super chat trying to compete with Hargeet Johnny, which don't do that, because Hargeet Johnny will flex. But thank you so much, Detective Seeds, and check out his channel. He didn't get an early Redfall code, if I remember. He was saying something on Twitter, and he said that he'll put up a review possibly later if he can. But he says, congrats on 100, brother. Congrats to you, Detective Seeds. When you're getting going on the YouTube stuff, it's super exciting, and he's up at probably 9,000 subs by now. He was 7 last time I checked. But welcome, Works Venom, to the early access and the what do we call it? The channel membership. Thank you for being here with the handsome Craig. Matt Houston says, congrats on 100 episodes. Thank you, Matt Houston, for a $20 Canadian. How much is $20 in Canada compared to the US, Meg?
It's about it's about $15 American.
Okay.
So 20 Canadian. It's not. We're not that far off from you guys. It depends on who's in power.
Fonz likes to make jokes that the currency exchange is like $700 versus $3 because things look so expensive.
They're not pesos, for Christ's sake. Jesus. Or like Russian rupees. It's like a hot dog is 780,000 rupees. I'm like, what is that? And they're like, oh, it's like $3 Canadian. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Okay. But no, we're pretty similar. So
we'll have to talk currency sometime, because I know you have a
$100
penny.
American is about 75.
And you call them dollars, right?
Or Americans, sorry.
As we learn international.
We call them dollars. Yeah. The hell, Cole?
I mean, do you guys have nickels and quarters? Do you guys have nickels and quarters over there? Like, do you have a 5-cent piece and a 25-cent piece? You're really quiet.
Well, we're not from another planet, for Christ's sake. I'm literally a 2-hour drive from the border. The only difference is that we have bagged milk on top of our carton milk. That's
why.
Everything else is identical.
You have bagged milk. I have to ask what planet you are from. I love you, Meg. Let me move on. Seth
Cord
Garfinkel
Wainer is on fire tonight, by the way. Have you seen Cord Wainer in the chat? This guy's been on absolute fire.
We're not from another planet. I'm dying right now. What did Cord say? $20.
Oh,
$20 equals 3 beaver pelts. Oh, Cord.
Yeah, he's been at it all night. He also said that he thinks that I'm actually a Goonies character that grew up. What he say about me? He said, I think Meg is having one of those old man fever dreams. He's actually really funny. Yeah, he's too much.
I mean, we did live like the Goonies back in the day. Like we rode our bikes everywhere.
Dude, we did that whole thing. Yes, we have cities for Christ. Yeah, that was another thing. I've heard that before too. Someone's come up here before, and they see like Toronto, which by the way, Toronto is like one of the top 3 cities in all of North America, next to like New York and Los Angeles.
Well, don't brag or anything.
And then all of a sudden people come, they're like, y'all have cities? I'm like, yeah. We also have running water too, if you want to check that out. Yeah.
Well, that's yet to be determined, but we'll see. Seth Garfinkel, thank you so much for the $5. He says, I think at this point, Phil needs to have a come to Jesus moment with his developers. And in June, he has to talk to us about where we are and where to go. I mean, no more to say that. That's really good. Markman05, thank you so much for the 5. He says, GameSpot gave Last of Us on PC an 8 and Redfall a 4. Do you feel there's a difference on how games are reviewed? Last of Us on PC was completely broken. They honestly should have given it a 4 and said, 4 is a broken game. Like, it's unplayable. Redfall is in no way unplayable. The worst glitch we got was the crouching glitch and the sliding glitch. Well, he was sliding. I seem to be running. I did have one PC crash, and I think I heard Miles or Gaz say the console version crashed on him once. but in no way is it unplayable. If you really dislike a game as a reviewer and it just doesn't do anything for it, there's no way Redfall should be getting a 5 or a 4. Just throw those out the window because, like I said, we're going to hear next week a lot of people have got some type of enjoyment out of it. Maybe you'll give it a 6 as well, but I don't know. Let's see. We got Revert Betton with a Canadian $7. Thank you, Revert. He says, Microsoft can't have a hands-off approach to Bethesda games. These games have to be showpieces for the console, or what's the point? Mag, speak on it.
That is the point. I mean, and you know, someone said to me, it really actually, like at first it didn't bother me, but then when I heard like the fourth person say it to me, then I started getting into like angry mag mode, and I was just like, enough, because people are like, well, you know what? Maybe it's time you move to PC. Maybe it's time to be, and I'm like, no, I'm not moving to PC. And you know why? Because I paid for what's up here, a $700 console that is supposed to be the most powerful console on the planet. If that is what you advertised, and that's the Kool-Aid that I drank, and that's what I walked into the store and picked up 2 of them, I'm not getting that performance. What am I going to do? Oh, well, throw it in the recycle bin and then just go buy a $4,000 BC so I can play a game at 60 FPS? No. You said this. You promised this.
I'm hardly getting it on my $2,500 PC, bro.
Not delivering it. And you know the other thing is too, yeah, I know. And you know the other thing is too, and I'm going to bring it up, and I don't care who gets mad. Why are the PlayStation 5 games playing better on PlayStation when the Xbox is a better system? But yet not every single, but almost every third-party game that's come out is playing better, running better, generally looking better, performing better on the PS5 than it is on Xbox. And then on top of that, they add like the 3D audio and the dual sense features and the haptic feedback and this, that, and the other thing. And then Xbox, they're like, here you go. Here's the scraps from the end of our table, dog. Eat it. And then go drink your dirty dog water.
Be nice, Mag. Be nice.
I can't be nice because that's what I paid for something that I'm not getting. Did I tell you what happened at GameStop? I told you what happened at GameStop.
Oh, gosh.
Jeez, okay, guys, this is real.
Hold on. Chat.
This is real.
Audience, buckle up for a moment. This actually,
is real.
I don't want to get all console worry, but when Mag told me what he's about to tell you, no, Mag, no, you're not. Yeah. I'm saying I don't want to get console worry, but when you told me this story you're about to tell, the Xbox fan in me was kind of ticked off. So go for it, bro.
It's okay. Now this is a true story, guys. I messaged Colt earlier today, and I told him what happened. I'm like, you'll never believe the promotion that's going on at the GameStop near my house. And I saw it online, and I'm like, this can't be real. And they're having a promotion right now that they will give you an extra 15% trade-in value if you trade in a Series X for a PlayStation 5. So they are actively offering more money to get rid of your Xbox and go to the PlayStation ecosystem. And it's literally advertised in the GameStop. Now, this might be just a regional thing. I haven't driven to like multiple GameStops, just the one near my house. And I saw it online. I'm like, this can't be real. Oh, my wife went, and she just happened to be by there because it's only like just like 2 minutes up the road. And she's like, oh no, they're offering 15% more as a bonus if you get rid of your Xbox for PlayStation 5. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding. Now, the thing is, I'm thinking is that maybe, like I said, it could be a regional thing. Maybe the owner of the store, they could do whatever they want, right? Because don't forget, the PlayStation
they normally don't get
5s,
to. It's usually corporate, but it's probably
true.
Go ahead.
But it could be regional, like freedom to be able to just offer extra whatever. Because now PS5s are like in circulation, right? Because now that you saw, like they went up like 500% in Europe because they're available to buy now, right? So they have a plethora of them sitting there. So now they're offering 50%. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wow. And I'm like, and they think Twitter is like console worry.
Well,
I'm like, GameStop just took it to a whole new level.
It could be your store. When I look online, they're both trade-in values, $385 store credit for the disc-based PS5 or the Series X. They're both $385. But I also thought while you were talking, Mag, what if they're offering incentive because they need to get more Series X's into the store and they don't have enough of them to sell? They have a supply.
You know what? I never thought of that, but it didn't say Series X. It said Series consoles.
Yeah.
It didn't say Series X. It said Series consoles. So that it was basically any Xbox for a PS5. But you're right. Maybe that is a possibility. Maybe because I have yet to see a Series X in a store. I got mine because I had to stand in line for like 5 hours before, like when they had the what is it called, the pre-purchase, whatever. So you had to get a little ticket, and then you went inside, and then I paid full price for the console right away, and then like whatever 3 months later, when the console released, I just came and picked it up. Like, you just go in there, you show your ID, you grab the bag, and you go. This was still during COVID, right? So, like, they were just, like, dropping it outside the door as long as you showed your ID and you did your check, you showed them the receipt, you took your console, you go home. I bought 2 of them, right? So but I still have yet to see. I've seen lots of Series S's, and I've seen PS5s. I have yet to see a Series X in the store.
Yeah, the Series X is like a ghost right now. The chat is like, Beer Baron says, everybody's talking a whole lot about Xbox right now. What if Starfield lands and is incredible? I mean, I'm pretty sure it will be. He says, then we'll see what does he say? We'll see the flip-flopping. Yeah, I mean, I just want to get everybody's expectations that the next couple weeks are going to be really hairy for Xbox fans with Redfall doing the way it is. But like I said... Do you have a
release date for Starfield?
Yeah, September 6th, 2023,
okay.
I think. Yeah,
okay,
so not long.
And then between now and then, what do they got? They got Lies of P in August?
Yes. They've got Ravenlock next week. Of course, Diablo, but Ravenlock is going to be in
no, I'm talking about Game Pass. I'm
Game Pass,
specifically
yeah. Ravenlock is... Actually, I heard Ravenlock's pretty cool, but,
it looked cool.
$30 or $40 game. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool, but then there's that, there's Lies of P, and then there's Starfield.
Yeah,
and then at some point,
and then Forza,
September and December, you got Forza.
Oh, so by the way, I wonder.
All right.
Actually, I could throw this in if you guys can bear with me a second. I could throw this footage in here. There was a new trailer that dropped that actually has a hint. Let me add it in here. That's a hint of what could actually land this year, according to the way that they showed it. Give me a second here. Let me go to... I'll do this stuff on the fly because, that's how I do things. Where's videos? Right here. Desktop. Right here. And then I have to squeeze it in. So you're going to see this right here on the screen as I prepare it in real time. Apologize. I have to go to this. Darn it. I'll just stick it on the screen. Who cares? Right here. This is the new trailer, and I'm going to let it play at least twice. And they show Minecraft Legends, they show Starfield, they show Lies of P, Redfall, Halo, Hellblade 2, and Forza.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Someone was
replaced
talking about that.
Starfield again, Valheim, Starfield again. I don't know what that is, but it looks cool. Fallout. I don't even know what that robot game is. Hi-Fi Rush, Atlas Fallen, if I'm getting that name right. No, Flintlock. It's Flintlock, sir. You gotta play Flintlock. Grounded, Sea of Thieves, right? So very cool, really cool edited trailer they put out late last night. But with Hellblade being on there, inquiring minds and sharp eyes want to know, is Hellblade on there on purpose? Did it go away? Yeah, I think it did. I think we're good. Okay. Sorry about that low grade production value. What do you guys think? Do you think Hellblade is actually targeted? Because there was the rumor that if ABK closed, that Xbox would make Ninja Theory push Hellblade to next year. And now that they know they're screwed, maybe they're like, hey, are you still ready? Because let's do this. Because Xbox needs a couple of big games at the end of the year.
They need multiple AAA games that stick the landing with at least an 85 to 90 metas. Yeah. And you need multiple ones. See, now, for example, and the people think I'm nuts. No, think about 2021. They literally won Publisher of the Year, right? They had a couple of great games there in a row that did really well, obviously, because they won the Metacritic Publisher of the Year, for crying out loud, in 2021. Didn't move the needle. It didn't move the needle. Nothing. It didn't increase anything. But the point is, it's the consistency of doing that. So they're going to have to do that for multiple games over multiple months, over multiple years. So yes, they do have to. I think they have no choice but to release what's it called, Senua's Saga. They have no choice. I think they got to release a Hellblade 2 so that you've got, because clearly Redfall ain't it, folks. Even if you have fun, it ain't going to be the one that people are going to be talking about at the Keeleys in December. So You know what I mean? Fun or not. I'm just saying, let's face the reality, right?
And
so
keep in mind,
they need Starfield and they need Redfall and Forza. So if you have a triple threat of
in the holiday,
of high quality games that hit hard, yes, that's what they need to do. They can't hold back right now because like with the ABK falling, well, presumably falling through, you can't do anything about it. You know what I'm saying? They have to go for it. They have to go for the gusto, and they're just gonna have to start cranking them out.
There's no reskin on Hellblade. Like Hellblade Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2 is like from the ground up. Like they have thrown everything out the door, everything out into the garbage can from the last game, and the game is built completely from the ground up as a semi-open world game. All new motion capture, all new combat, a completely new combat system that they hired the combat director from the Star Wars games for swordplay and saberplay, right?
Right.
That's a big deal. So that's not, we were talking earlier about the PlayStation games where I was saying they're amazing, but they were also built from 80% of the old game and pushed into a great product into the new generation. And it's a lot harder to go from scratch. And man, I hope Hellblade 2 really, really nails it. Let me read a super from Kyle Coe, who sends 50,000 currency of something that I don't know what it is. It's a D with a T plus over it, as lowercase d and an underscore. And I don't even know what that is. Kyle, write that in the chat so I can learn about that currency. He says, hey,
I can't see it.
Yeah, you can't see it right now, but he says, hey, changing the different currency so that number looks higher. Ha ha ha. Congrats on 100 episodes. So it may be a couple bucks, but I appreciate it. Danny Passion says, you missed one of my supers. I uninstalled the game. It looks and feels like a game made by 10 people. Xbox needs to do better. Deathloop is much better. Yeah, and Deathloop launched on PlayStation as exclusive. It's an 88 Metacritic. It was nominated for Game of the Year. It was made by Arcane's smaller studio overseas in France. That way, actually, for me. Yeah, holy crap. I just did not expect this from Arcane Austin, the main team. I'm looking to see if I missed Danny's super. I don't see it here. Yes, right here. I'm so sorry, Danny. I tried to get every single one of them. He said, for $2, thank you so much, Danny. He says, time to pause, show to play, Redfalls, be nice. Yeah, he's pausing the show so he could play it, and then he's one of those that just uninstalled it. We do have some good news. Mag, this is like a total turn of the topics, but the other day we learned that the Baltimore Ravens cornerback, Caillou Blue Kelly, is working with Microsoft on an exclusive time-traveling SEAL Team 6 action-adventure game. I don't know when this game's coming out, but there's some partnership.
Like an acid trip.
Time-traveling game where you're like a Rainbow Six team, or SEAL Team 6, right? A special ops team that time travels. He explains it that their job is they're the special forces team that goes to regulate people who time travel to go back and change things so they can get rich. Kind of like Time Cop with Jean-Claude Van Damme in 1994. Do you remember that beauty?
Let me tell you something. The greatest scene in that movie is when he does the splits in his underwear in the kitchen, and he puts both his legs on the kitchen counter because the guy shoots the taser at his.
He just jumps up, and goes.
Yeah, and then he does a thing, and then that's when the toaster pops and he grabs the toast. Yeah. That was a fantastic scene.
Or the best scene is when he beats the crap out of the mascot, and he runs him into the dishwasher, and it chokes him to death. The funny thing about that is I went and saw that. Well, you know how old I am. I saw it in high school, and my buddy. We sat down. He was a big Jean-Claude Van Damme fan, and he goes, hey, Colt, this is one of Jean-Claude Van Damme's movies where he doesn't do a lot of fighting. It's more like thrilling action. He doesn't do a lot of fighting. I'm like, seriously? He goes, yeah. But he was lying. Like there was so much cool stuff in that, and he brings down a helicopter. Spoiler. It's good. It's amazing.
By the way, the funniest comment in the chat tonight is the geeky nerd. He just put time travel and give us some games.
Yeah, please. Yeah, let's send a team over there to get us some great stuff. I know people are asking this question. I'll read this. Mike G says,
so
Cole,
funny.
You did not give good Redfall. Chat's moving so fast. Cole, you did not give Redfall good reviews when you play tested it at Arcane. Why is the game so bad now? I mean, I didn't give the game a review when I play tested it. I made a 12-minute video where I talked about Layla and her powers and the mission that we got to do and the combat and the gunplay and the vampires. Like, that's what I made the video about. And I was really excited about those things. And those are actually the things that work really well. But then when I got the game Saturday and walked around the world and said, let's see what's happening in Redfall. And I'm like, there ain't nothing happening in Redfall. And that's where things started to really rear their ugly head. The game still looks the same. I said in that preview that the game's not going to blow your face off and it doesn't look fully next generation. I think those are the words I used in the video. All of that is like completely up front. And I played on a PC. I fully expected it to look, and it does. Huge PC over here. Visuals look nearly identical on the Series X. The only difference is they've capped the frame rate. So I do welcome plenty of questions. I do fully expect people to vent today, Mag, as they talk about this. And by rights, they have every right to vent. And I want to be here. We want to be here for that, right? For them
Art is subjective, and we are consumers at the end of the day.
Yep.
If you're paying for something and it's not something that you're happy with, you have every right to say whatever you want. I said it at the beginning of the show. If I'm going out to buy a car and the car's missing a wheel and the steering wheel doesn't work properly, and you know what I'm saying, and the radio doesn't work, you think I'm going to be, well, I love the brand, and I don't want to be a fraud with my other Ford guys or whatever the hell car you're going to buy. So I better buy it anyway. No, that's not how it works. If you see something that in your eyes is not what you want, then you wouldn't buy it, would you? You wouldn't try it, would you? So therefore, if it's a movie, if you see it for a trailer for a movie and you don't like what you saw, okay, then are you going to go watch that movie? No.
Yeah.
DO342, I saw what you said. Anyways, sorry.
I mean, there's a lot of people in the chat.
There's 1,000-something people in the chat. I don't miss a single thing. Okay, I'm like that school teacher that hears you whispering in the corner, or like you're writing a little note to your friend and you go pass it off. I see everything. All right. So when you say something, you should have been listening to the first 90 minutes of the show. He was saying something about it. He says, let's talk about time cop instead of talking about how Xbox is not doing well. We already talked about it.
I know it's super easy for people, and I don't get mad at you in the chat for saying, like, Colt, you should have done this when you did the preview, or you should have done that. I was sent there. I was given the one, what was it, supposed to be less than an hour and a half to play through one mission and try to get as much time into the game as I could, which I've told you on the show, like back in the 2 months ago, that I felt like I was rushing to get as much time in the game as I could, and they're like, okay, we're done. We all pay attention, okay? Pay attention. Look at the previews. Like, we all really enjoyed the game. We all did. Like, we came back and they told us to report on the character, the combat, the mission, and there was like to stay away from spoilery stuff. I even got to see, I don't know if I said this on my show. I accidentally got to see the very beginning of the game because I tried to pick a different character and I couldn't figure it out. And a guy had to come over and go, oops. And he grabbed the controller like Jimmy Fallon. He's like, move. And he's like, and he debugged and he got me back into the build because we played as Layla and took a break. And I'm like, I want to try a different character. And I couldn't because it only said Layla for the 4 save slots. Stick with me on this story. And I was like, I turned to the guy next to me. I go, hey, bro, I can't change character. He goes, just go to the main menu and then hit new game, and then they'll let you choose character. I go, oh, cool. So I went to the main menu, chose Jacob or whatever, and then this opening cutscene starts, and I immediately held B and skipped it. And then I was on the boat, and I woke up, and I'm like, oh, crap. And then somebody happened to walk by and go, oh, you're not supposed to see that. And like, what was the point of that story? I didn't get to see any of the game other than the narrow scope. That is, when you're in a preview, especially where they give you a bit of the game, they hand you a controller, like you were in a very controlled environment. And we all really enjoyed that controlled environment. But when we came home, that's why you're seeing it now. People have had hours and hours and hours to play it. So yeah, it's what a surprise.
It is what it is. I'm not playing it. I've said it. I've been adamant about it from the beginning. And I said, as soon as I saw what I saw, excuse me, and the performance and everything else, I'm like, no, I'll revisit it, and that's a maybe. And the other thing is, it's a maybe because, as I said earlier in the show, there's a possibility, and a pretty damn good one, that by the time they fix this thing, it's dead on arrival. It'll be gone.
I agree.
Not dead on arrival, but like, it'll be dead by the time. Like I said, if they can find a way to literally murder the franchise game Halo in front of our eyes in real time, then this game has no chance of having legs. None. Zero.
I really feel that Arcane is going to move on. They have the Bite Back edition that I think that content's probably already completed, and they were going to wait to launch it like a month after the game to kind of keep people moving along.
Well, that's the thing, Colt. So
I think they're going to release that. They're going to fix it. I think Arcane is going to get that content out, Mag, and I think they're going to say, "All right, we're done." Like,
well,
that did not work. We're moving on. The game is complete. It's content complete. We're not going to go in and add more NPCs. We're not going to go add more things live to the world. Like, we are cutting our losses. And for Xbox fans, that sucks super, super bad.
Yeah, and then you know what's going to happen? Like I said, by the time they fix it, we're going to be playing Starfield. We're going to be playing Spider-Man.
I mean,
we're going to be playing whatever else.
I'm going to be playing other games in the next few weeks, regardless.
Right. Oh, I mean, Diablo, for crying out loud! Tears of the Kingdom. This game is
Street Fighter. Street Fighter's coming out.
Oh, I mean, Street Fighter. Damn, I played that demo. That actually was pretty fun.
Look, let me say, Arcane has no business selling this game for $70. You saying it's on Game Pass as an excuse is not nice. It's not a nice thing. But these are just my opinions. And if I am a content creator and I'm doing a review and I'm trying to give you an informed decision, that hopefully you might think, well, I'm listening to Colt, maybe I shouldn't spend the $70 on it. But if you're listening to me, you're like, screw Colt, I'm going to go install this on Game Pass, and me and my buddies are going to have a blast. And when you get back to me next week and say, we've had so much fun, I'm going to be super happy to hear that. If you get back to me next week and say, I didn't like the game because it felt barren, I'm going to be super happy because, you know what? In the end, somebody was right. And it's all up to your opinion. Guess what? After all this happens, Xbox isn't even close to doomed. I was talking to somebody behind the scenes. I can't say anything yet, but this is just but a small bump in the road. I kind of wish they would just give up on the ABK thing, but let me move forward. We've got one last one, I think. Yes. Spartan661, thank you so much for the 5 says, Mag, Eastwood, and King David equals greatness. Yeah, we're glad to have him on here.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mag, thank you so much. So, yeah, I guess Jedi Survivor. This is kind of a... we were talking about this a minute ago when we got back on Redfall, but yeah, just remember, boys, they're just opinions. They really are.
It's just opinions at the end of the day. Everybody's going to be different. No one's going to be the same. And you know, the thing is, if you love something or hate something, or if I love something or if I hate something, that doesn't change who I am. It doesn't change, like, oh, he's a flip-flopper, or she's a flip-flopper, or no, that's not how things work. That's like Marvel could have 4 bombs in a row, which they did, and like then all of a sudden Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is going to absolutely rock, because I know a bunch of people who saw it at CinemaCon in Las Vegas, right? And so they said the movie's amazing. So the last 4 Marvel movies suck, and then this one's awesome. Does that mean I'm a flip-flopper now because all of a sudden I like Guardians 3 and I hated the other 4? No, it just means that the 4 suck in my mind, and pretty much everybody else's. And then this one rocks. It's the same thing with games.
Yeah.
If Xbox releases 4 duds, or like 2 years worth of duds in a row, minus like Hi-Fi Rush, the last great game I played on Xbox to me was Halo campaign. I loved Halo Infinite. It just didn't take off with it. A lot of people loved it. And then and what's that other one I really liked? It was my game of the year that year. Oh, Psychonauts 2, right? Those are the last great games they played for me. So if they release Starfield and it rocks, and does that mean that he's a flip-flopper, he's an Xbox hater for the last 2 years, now he likes it again? No, I like the product. I like or dislike the product that they sell on that particular box. If PlayStation's rocking it, doesn't make me a pony. It just means that I like quality. If I see good quality and I'm playing it on PlayStation 5, I'm going to say it. I'm going to go, damn, this game is hot. Doesn't make you a pony. Doesn't make you an Xbox. It just means
somebody's
that
you're going to sell your Xbox. Like you're going to sell your Xbox in flip-flops. Like, no, that's what fanboys do. I keep all my consoles around. Let me give a little speech. The console's going to be
cold.
Let me give a little speech because you know, I was upset today when the Redfall news was coming in, expected negatively. And then Xbox goes, we've got a new controller and it's made from nail polish. And I was like, Xbox marketing, are you serious? And I got so many Xbox fans are mad at me for whining about 30 frames, whining about Arcane not delivering, whining about the controller marketing. But it's about, let me read this quote that OBS is reconnecting. Hang on. Hurry up, OBS. You can do it. Okay, we're good. Okay, we lost you for just a second, but what I was saying was, would you rather have Xbox say, I know bad news is coming, but here's a new controller, or would you rather have them out proactively controlling the marketing narrative and getting people in the know and being clear and proactive about their communications and saying, here's a new controller when they have bad news? It's the wrong beat. I don't want them talking about Xbox dolls and stuff. And so people get mad at me when they're like, Cole, you need to quit criticizing Xbox. Well, I can tell you firsthand that there are people at Xbox who are listening to me criticize Xbox. I was told that they brought my name up in the conference room and said, what's Colt saying about this? Like when something is going awry, they're like, what's Colt saying about this right now on Twitter? They do that because, believe it or not, I was getting made fun of today. I don't just blindly follow Xbox. I love the platform a lot. It's my favorite. But I've called them out. I've wanted them to delay Redfall. I've told them to delay Halo. I've told them to be better in their marketing. I told them to get rid of Xbox Live Gold. I told them not to double the price. And I've done that because those things need to be heard, and they're listening. And I think that they probably think, well, Colt's got he's at least reasonable, and he's not using laughing, crying emojis and calling people Nimrods, right? So it is very, very super important for people like Mag, or people like me, or anybody who has more than a voice of 3 people or an audience of a couple people, to at least just say, I love Gaz so much. And he speaks his mind, but he throws in the sauce, right? And even the sauce could fall on deaf ears when King David was so right when he says, if you're respectful and you're constructive, they're freaking listening. Bungie has said it. CD Projekt Red said it. Like, we can't listen to all of this nonsense and insults when we need to be hearing the real constructive criticism. So please allow Mag and I to, I think we do it respectfully. Tell Xbox what they're not doing right. Because regardless of Redfall's failure today, we've got a showcase next month, and the biggest games are coming. And I thought Redfall was going to be the first one. I thought Redfall was going to be the closing of the gate behind us. Unfortunately, Redfall is just on the other side of that gate, and then we can move forward. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
By the way, Jedi Survivor's fun. I'm not experiencing any bugs or any issues or anything, by the way.
We didn't even get to it. Did you hear about the latest? Did you hear about the latest? So instead of me talking, did you hear about the latest performance patch and where it's sitting right now? Or the latest report?
No, I heard that there was a patch, but I played 2 hours on Coruscant because I don't rip through games like that. Like I just take them in, like, you know what I mean? Like I basically like a fine wine. Like I just slowly go through everything and I explore everywhere, whatever, right? And so like even when I played Resident Evil 4, the first run was 35 hours, right? And you could finish that game in 4. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's the way I do it. So I played 2 solid hours on Coruscant. I did not experience a damn thing other than joy. Oh, and by the way, another thing, guys, gals,
other than joy.
Anybody who listens to this chat, listens to this show, or in the chat or on Twitter, just because you rip through a game in one day because A, you're off of work or you don't work or whatever you do, can we stop like posting like spoiler pics of the game, for Christ's sake? Like the ending, like 23 hours after the game released. Like, can you give the rest of the world a chance? Like, I understand.
I had to watch the analysis.
Like, Jesus Christ.
I had to watch the analysis when my phone turned over because I didn't want to see the vistas that I've yet to experience, because I want to wait a week until the game's patched. But as it stands right now, the console patch is on the way. There was a whole report that PS5 was yet besting the Xbox. Now, Digital Foundry said it's running at, are you ready for this? I'm going to round to the nearest 100. It's running at 700 to 900p in performance mode with a upscale, which your TV already does, to 1440p in performance mode with frame drops anywhere from regular 8 to 12 to 20 frame drops. A roller coaster through there at different times. The best mode, they say, is to play at 30 frames because it basically just holds 30 frames and doesn't drop any frames. But right now, the PS5 and Series X are running the same build and the same performance across both modes, and it's supposed to be patched in the next week or the next few days. And that's where we're trying to get with Jedi Survivor. There is a problem with the state of AAA games. Mag, even Hogwarts, a game I loved, had massive performance problems.
It was pretty buggy. There was some stuff happening, weird things, but I overlooked it because I'm such a Harry Potter fan that I was so enveloped in the world that it did such a great job to pull me into the experience that I didn't really notice. Now, that being said, Resident Evil 4 launched flawless, and right now, like I said, I'm on my second run. I'm on my second run, and I'm not going to stop until I got it on PlayStation 5, so I'm not stopping till I get the platinum. So I'm not even playing these other games. So the beauty is, it's almost like a reward for me, is that when I finally get that platinum on Resident Evil 4, all those other games will already be patched out with like performance patches because everybody else is bitching about it, which is great for me. And I'm like, perfect. By the time I get back to the Jedi, see, I played 2 hours of Jedi Survivor because I wanted to taste. You know what I mean? I'm like, let me see what I'm getting into. Then I'm going to shelve it and then get back to it because I'm like Rand. Rand plays one game at a time because he likes to be involved in the experience.
He does.
Now the thing is though, Rand is kind of like the Friar Tuck of gaming. Like he takes one bite, and he throws the thing behind him, and then he takes a bite of something else and throws it. Like he'll finish the story, rip through it, go to the next game.
He'll uninstall it. And he rolls the credits and makes sure he got the last achievement that popped while he's watching the credits, and then he uninstalls it.
See, like I can't do that. I'm a completionist. I'll spend like I did 272 hours in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, that kind of stuff, right? So anyway, the point is that by the time I finish Resident Evil 4, which is going to be probably another 2 weeks, is that those other games will get patched, and then Jedi Survivor will be there. Dead Island 2's already been patched, I think twice. And I know it sucks for people who have nothing else to play on day one, and you go to play it, and the stuff is like, well, maybe not broken, but let's say it's hobbling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if it's hobbling, then that sucks for people who got nothing else to play. But for me, I don't mind because I'm a very patient gamer these days, right? So I have no problem with it. I'll buy everything, but I'll take my time doing it, right? I bought 6 games in 1 week, for crying out loud.
I beat like 10 games this year, which is doing pretty good because they're all pretty big. But I forgot to say this. Like, I am also very sensitive to, there are people who don't really notice the frame drops. They don't notice the difference between 60 and 30, or they just never cared. Like, if they do notice, it never bothers them. And for those people, when you play Redfall or you play Jedi Survivor, you're still going to have a great time. And that's fine. That's fine. We just get a little irritated that we bought a big console and things just aren't happening. But about Jedi Survivor, it's forced ray tracing on console, and that was one of the problems. That's why it runs at such a low resolution. It's got pretty decent quality ray tracing that cannot be turned on or off, and so that's the reason. Who was it in the chat? It probably is gone by now. That said, wait, darn it. I like to keep an eye on these, but I can't find it. But they said once you get to the water, I'm sorry, I don't know who said it. I was reading it, but they said once you get to the water, the frame rate tanks on Jedi in performance mode, and that's because of the forced ray tracing. And gosh dang it, screen space reflections and baked-in lighting can look so good. Just throw that ray tracing out the window, bro.
It was running like hot butter when I was playing it. Like, it was beautiful.
What mode are you playing in?
I played it in performance. I played in performance where it says favor 60 frames
on PS5
per second.
or Series X.
On PS5 because my game share partner, right?
Oh, right.
So I get to enjoy at least some of those games. The rest of the games, though, I had to buy myself. But that I'm playing on PlayStation, and it plays flawlessly. Mind you, I've only played 2 hours. Okay, so that's not a great litmus test for like the rest of the game. But I only played the 2 hours, and it was as
kind of goes down the further you get along. Yeah. But
probably, right. Yeah. And I didn't experience anything in those first 2 hours. Like I said, I'm still on Coruscant, and I'm not going back. I'm not going back to it for a couple of weeks, right? So the only other game I am going to be playing is I'm going to be playing online only games, like I'm going to be playing Dead Island 2, and of course I'm playing Resident Evil 4. But anyways, the point is that 2 hours I played was beautiful, and it was so nice. Like as soon as I started playing, I was like, oh, that's nice. Like just the movement, it was smooth, man. You know what I mean? Like, dude was dancing like John Travolta. It was fantastic. And I was just like, all right, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to see. Right? So, then all of a sudden I started reading about all these problems, and I'm like, what problems? I'm like, I haven't faced anything yet. So it must be further down the road.
I heard it a lot.
It must be further down the road, because I started looking on Twitter, and I'm like, what the hell is all this controversy? And I'm like, I can't believe it. I'm like, I have experienced nothing.
There's also a lot of people who've said, Colt, like, you know, because I put up the Steam review that was really low on PC, and people were like, mine's been perfect on Series X. And I'm like, well, maybe they don't notice the difference, but I would love to feel that, like, where I feel, oh, it's great, and not worry about that. And sometimes, I don't know.
Foxy Jedi just became my friend on Twitter. Foxy Jedi, I see you now. Guess what? Listen, I'm going to be doing something down the road. I'm going to DM you, and probably sometime in the next month. I swear I'm doing something. It's going to be big. It's something I'm doing solo outside of my shows that I do, XNC and Primetime Gaming. But that is for something when I launch it. Then I'll talk about it. But until then, I'm not saying a word about it.
Ooh,
but
secretive.
no. And I'm gonna put an open invitation to my followers on Twitter and on YouTube, and to what I'm going to ask them a question. I'm sorry, I'm being very cryptic, but when it comes time, my DMs are wide open. I'm gonna be like, I want suggestions. You guys hit me with them, and I will be filming them. So I'm gonna be doing some cool stuff coming up. Yes,
but again, I'm not talking about it. Then make you dance a little bit.
You are at the top of the list, obviously. Boom. Of course, the PTG panel, Randall Thor, who I already spoke to. I already asked him. He knows what I'm doing.
Okay.
But nobody else knows what I'm doing. So I'm going to be doing that very shortly. I'll tell you off the air. But anyways, enough of that. We got to go, Colt. It's time to go to bed.
Okay, let me get these supers. We'll get out of here. We got baby. MacBound says, well, this is harsh. She says Redfall is bad. Someone needs to be fired for letting this come out. I feel like I'm playing Roblox. Mac, I would rather have it be delayed, but I don't even, without bringing more people onto the team. I just feel like Arcane didn't ask anybody for help, and they just thought this was okay. Reverse World with a $5, thank you so much. He says, why does it seem Xbox goes through these phases where they get it, and then the next month they go back to not getting it? They need their hands held. We need that consistency, Reverse, for sure. Risky for the biscuit with the Australian 3 says, Colt, exactly what I was saying. And you can still really enjoy the game. We just, after all this waiting, and after Xbox finally delivering their first suite of games from their studios, like not like this, but we will check in next week. I want to hear from all of you what you thought of the game. And like I said, I'm pretty sure a lot of you are going to say, I had a lot of fun with it. It could have been better. And on to the next thing, I suppose. But good luck out there. If you're on Twitter or Reddit, or heaven forbid, what do they call that, reset era? Yeah, that little. Give me 1 second. Okay, we're back. We're back.
I'll add you as soon as I'm done the show. Yeah. No, I got people following me now. Yeah, I'm gonna be changing my. I made my Twitter handle like 5 years ago before I was even on YouTube or anything else like that, and it didn't fit middle-aged game guy, so it's with a GY at the end. So I think I might change it, as I did here on what's it called, in Discord and everything. I might just change it to the mag, but I mean, it won't change anything, so I just change it to the mag. But anyways, it'll make it nice and easy. Yes, Colt, what a great show. Congratulations on the 100. And chat, you guys were absolutely on fire. You guys, gals, everybody else in between, you guys are all amazing. The humor and the comedy coming from you guys was just something else. But it was a nice array of people today. We had some, people from all walks of life in there saying all kinds of different things, so it was wonderful. So great show as always. Colt, thank you for having me on the show again and being a co-host with you. It's always a pleasure, and things are only going to get bigger and better, baby. I'm telling you right now. So anyways, guys, it was a great show. You can catch me this Wednesday, 7 p.m. on Primetime Gaming on the Double Barrel Gaming. You catch me there. And, of course, you'll catch me here every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. So everybody, have a great week. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is episode 100. We'll be back with more episodes, and we'll bring more people on the show. And we're going to be gearing up for Xbox Game Showcase, and that is going to be, oh boy, that's going to be really good. And we're going to talk about our predictions and leaks as they come in. That's going to start pouring in, and I'll have more videos on YouTube. I don't know. if I'll end up making a actual final review of Redfall, since I bet the game will probably take me the remainder of the week to complete at this point. But we really appreciate you people coming in to insult me and blame me for making the game. I love it. We're having a good time. But
it was me insulting you the most. But, so, yeah, don't worry about it.
But, it was a good therapy session for everybody. We really appreciate it. And we went a long time. Mag, thanks a lot. I'm going to hit the outro so we can get out of here. Guys, hit your like button on the way out. That's very nice. Thank you for being here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, where most of you people check out the show on demand. And we will see you next week. Later.